Rouge as we are broadcasting live from the 180 Pros studio. It's time for your IT to do a 180. Visit 180pros.com. All right. We're going to start card recapture today, y'all. And we're going to have some fun doing it. Because we're going to bring in somebody who's on the opposite side on this one. Well, opposite side from me. You might be an anti-carbon capture person as well. On our rundown today, well, I'll give you the full guest list, but want to make sure you're around for 8:05. Chuck Owen's going to join us to talk about what ifs. What if? That's one segment amongst a really stacked up lineup. So let's get right to it. Top stories and trending. Let's roll. Danny Allen Hobgood, a Slaughter alderman, has agreed to pay a $2,500 civil penalty to settle claims by the state ethics board that he wrongly benefited through his auto shop's dealings with the town government. The short version of the story is 3 town vendors had work done at Hobgood Garage, which is apparently a no-no. The pilot of a small plane was killed when the aircraft crashed into a swamp in Rapides Parish, data from the FAA showed on Monday. The crash occurred near Sharp, which is west of Boyce, around 120 miles northwest of Baton Rouge. The FAA said yesterday there was only one person aboard the plane. That plane was registered to a person in California, though we don't have that person's name. LSU golf course will permanently close this summer. The school announced it yesterday. Starting May 9th, they're going to start the teardown process. The course will permanently close on June 30th. This is in preparation for the new LSU arena at the intersection of Nicholson and Crouere. BRPD is investigating a fatal Sunday night shooting on Longfellow Drive. Now, the shooting is on Longfellow Drive. Let me walk you through this. According to the department, officers arrived at the 3300 block of Haley Drive around 9:25 p.m. to find 23-year-old Samuel Love shot to death. During their investigation, they learned the shooting occurred at the 5600 block of Longfellow. After being shot, Love allegedly fled the area before succumbing to his injuries on Haley. Donald Trump Bridge moves to the Senate. State Representative Mike Eccles' proposal to name the new Mississippi River Bridge in Iberville Parish cleared the House by a vote of 66-28 yesterday, with 9 people absent. It now heads to the Senate, where it has to clear committee, pass the full Senate floor, and be built.
What a mess. Republican senators in the White House are working on a proposal to fund most of the Department of Homeland Security, which would get TSA officers paid and hopefully end the misery at the nation's airports.
Congressman Troy Carter's on the lineup today. We got him at 8:35. Will DC Current presented by LABI. And that's one of the topics we're covering today.
Gosh.
And then we're going to talk about smoking weed.
Oh,
yeah.
So we're going to go from that to that.
He wrote a cannabis bill, a bipartisan cannabis bill. I don't know what conservative cannabis looks like, but
conservative cannabis. Before we hop, Bush Airport yesterday out of Houston, 40% called out, MSY 42%, ATL 41%, 3,400 total TSA agents.
So I'm actually liking the idea with to fill in ICE to kind of just pick up the slack along the way. I've seen news story after news story, like they don't know what they're doing there or whatever. Well, they're just playing background. Like your TSA agents are the ones that are looking at the X-ray machines and whatnot. Your ICE agents are the ones going to retrieve the gray bins. It doesn't take a whole lot of training to retrieve a gray bin.
And they're just trying to help where they can.
Right.
President Trump says talks are underway with a high-level member of Iranian government to end the war.
Okay. So, Nards. Now I'm not going to remember what it was. Who was the high-level member of the government? That was I was listening on Fox News rundown this morning. Because it's not, you killed the Ayatollah. You're not dealing with the Ayatollah's son.
Yeah.
It's like their version of the Speaker of the House.
I feel like I keep hearing this name over and over again, and it's going to come to me.
I know. You'd know if I didn't ask.
All right. Well, let's hope it happens. James Eastman, a surfer in Northern California. Let me say that again. James Eastman, a surfer in Northern California, was attacked by a shark last week.
Now, the shark alligator rule.
Yeah.
But this one gets interesting.
I know. He survived by punching the shark in the nose, But get this, his wife is an emergency room nurse where he was sent to the hospital.
Yeah. How'd you like that, huh?
I know. Come in clutch. You got all your aids right there.
Yeah, but like, there's got to be a part that says, as soon as he was wheeled in on a stretcher or whatever, she's like, I told you not to go.
Right.
I told you.
And she's probably barking at him.
And he's just like
time.
blood spewing like a Tarantino film. And yeah.
And you know what he told her? But I punched him in the nose.
I punched the shark in the nose multiple times till he let go. It's like, okay, well, that's great. But look at your other arm.
And it's hanging off.
Shark alligator rule. By the way, shout out to Stu, my good buddy Stu, for sending that one over. The to have the wherewithal to punch a shark in the face, like square in the nose till it lets go.
See, when I'm in pain, I don't think. My brain just turns off. So I wouldn't think, you know what? Let me get this fella off of me. Let me punch him in the nose.
But there's also like total survival mode too.
Right.
Like your brain can turn off and, a different part of your brain takes over that says, like, you process what you need to do to live.
That's true. I wouldn't just lay there, but I wouldn't think, let me get him in the nose.
Yeah, that's...
Love it.
Then gets wheeled into the hospital. Hey, hon.
I know.
Got a thing going on. Coming up on 611 at Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Let me give you the rest of that rundown real quick, since we've teased around it a little bit. Jeff Crouere, host of Ringside Politics. He's going to join us at 6:35. Yes, we are going to talk about the airport situation and a couple of other things. Donnie Miller from the Ascension Parish Chamber is going to be on board at 7:15. Looking forward to getting caught up with Donnie. Looking forward to getting caught up with Donnie at 7:15 about everything they're working on out in Ascension Parish. Tommy Faucheux from the Louisiana Mid-Continent Oil and Gas Association at 7:35. Probably talk a little carbon capture there and really what Lamoga's got their eyes on during the legislative session. State Representative Chuck Owen at 8:05. Chuck Owen has been, he put out an op-ed, I think it's an op-ed, in the Rapides Parish Journal. The what ifs worth asking about carbon burial in central Louisiana. And this was to go along with Desiree Lemoyne from Industry Makes that put one out, said Central Louisiana say yes to CCS. So the back and forth is going. And what I love about it is we're actually just having a conversation. What I love about it, I've had Chuck on about this particular topic before out at Legislator last year. And it was a solid back and forth. Chuck's a good dude. And he comes at you with an open and honest heart. So this isn't going to be a game of gotcha. It's just going to be a really good conversation. After Chuck Owen at 8:05, 10 minutes after that, Central's Mayor Wade Evans at 8:15. Cooking in Central's coming up. Looking forward to that. We had Mayor Evans on last week, and we got to talking about hating FEMA or just being mad at FEMA, and before we knew it, we were out of time. So we're going to pick that conversation up where we left off, and then we will wrap up our guest list with Congressman Troy Carter. Are we going to see an end anytime soon to the partial government shutdown? What's it going to take to get a yes vote? That's what's still to come in our D.C. current presented by the Louisiana Association of Business and Industry. Before we get you to our first break, we'll talk a little LSU football on the back end. Before we get you to that break, let me remind you about the folks at the Baton Rouge Metro Airport. While you are looking at 4-hour delays down in New Orleans, you are looking at no delays in Baton Rouge. In fact, shout out to WBRZ for finally getting in the ball game on this one. We've been talking about it for weeks now. BRZ had a story yesterday about exactly this, about some folks with the delays in New Orleans are opting instead to fly out of Baton Rouge. And I got to tell you, their experience is the same as mine. Fantastic. We've got a wonderful airport here, and we need to use it. Daily flights to D.C., fly out in the morning, fly home in the evening, same day, turnaround. You can get your business done same day with the Baton Rouge Metro Airport. Number of options that are on the table when you fly BTR, and they all provide better TSA experience, shorter drive there, shorter drive home. Overall experience is just great. The touchless parking, cashless parking is also wonderful. Learn a lot more at flybtr.com. That's flybtr.com. I need coffee.
Kim, Congressman's going to be telling us about that. She said, when are TSA agents going to be paid? Well,
did you not listen to the entire segment, Kim?
She asked way before. Same. I fly out. Hold on. Not this Thursday, not the following, but the third Thursday. So 3 weeks from now, and out of BTR. So I'm getting excited. Yeah, Kim, my dad's freaking out. He's like, oh my God, we got to get to the airport like 5 hours early, 6 hours early. I'm like, no, sir. I'm like, we're going to get there an hour early. Because he's thinking what everybody else is thinking, that airports are just insane, not your regional airports. I agree. I always tell people, I'm like, pay the $100 to $200 extra and fly out of BTR for just peace of mind. Okay, I'm sorry. So what bid do you need?
It's the LED. It's the video clip with the woman from LED and Chuck Owen sitting next to her.
Yes, yes. With,
and like all like that.
Yeah.
No. No.
He was in one of the clips, but yeah.
No. I think it was Friday. It might have been Thursday. I ended up in a reel because of it. Not a reel that you made. Somebody else grabbed a piece of the show. Oh. And I went kind of, I wouldn't say I went viral, but I went like legislative viral where, oh yeah. Got a lot of people texting me on that one. Where can I find that? Oh. No, it was a reel. It was Facebook. Now he's. You know how much I hate that this is the instrumental? I explained this to JP way back in the day, and he did nothing about it.
You want the lyrics.
Yes.
You just don't want the beat.
I want me some Sabrina Carpenter.
Okay, let me work on that.
No idea why. She's such an earworm. Everything she does.
I like her.
Yeah, no, same. Yep. What was the other one about being light as a feather or whatever?
Oh, that's Billie Eilish.
No.
While you're doing that, I'm just jamming out.
It's 6:18 at Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. We got literally 2 minutes for sports, and I'm going to do it I'm going to spend the time looking up Sabrina Carpenter songs. I'll do that during the break. LSU football, spring football starts up today, y'all. I have no idea what access is going to look like. I've talked with the guys from 104.5 a little bit. It seems like it's going to be limited compared to our previous coach, but things are underway today as we get ramped up for spring and a completely new look and an unbelievably expensive roster. Now, before spring got started, LSU's Pro Day was yesterday. We're going to talk about that on the back end of the break. Let me make sure we're running on time here because I don't want to run over. But with LSU spring football underway, this is when the hype train is going to start. If it hasn't already left the station, the hype train for Lane Kiffin is going to be off and running in full as of today, once they hit the field a little bit. That being said, when is the spring game? You know what? I'll pull that up during the break as well. Also in sports, before we hit our break for the Fox Business Report and traffic, and we'll do the pro day after this. But LSU baseball's back at it tonight. They've got Louisiana Tech. First pitch, I believe, is 6:30. That'll be in our sister station, Eagle 98.1. LSU softball is right here tonight on Talk 107.3 FM. They also have Louisiana Tech, but I believe they started a half an hour sooner. It's 6:20. Here's the Fox Business Report on Talk 107.3. Unfortunately, at LED, we have 24th. I knew it. Damn it. Why don't I trust myself on things like that?
Unfortunately, at LED, we had that one. No, what I was thinking of was Anna posted a video that was similar to this, and I had Dixon in the video, and she was like giving a shout out to him or something like that. That's what made me think of it, but I got your audio.
Okay, good. Thank you. Feather. That's the name of the song, Feather.
I was thinking you were talking about Birds of a Feather.
No. No. I-12 westbound's gonna be backed up pretty heavy right now from the delays start back by Denham Springs and they continue all the way up to about Airline Highway. When you get to Airline Highway or near Airline Highway, I believe it's in between Sherwood and Airline where this happened. There is an accident with injuries that's still being worked. The accident happened about 45 minutes to an hour ago, but it is still in the working process right now. So I-12 westbound is going to be slow going, if not stopped along the way from before Range Avenue all the way up to Airline. Now it picks back up after that. If you're hopping on at Airline trying to get downtown, you'll have no problem there because the accident will be in your rear view. 12 from Airline to the merge looks good. I-10 westbound coming in from Ascension Parish looks good. I-10 eastbound coming back across from West Baton Rouge looks good, although we're starting to see volume on 10 West hopping back on at Highway 1. I'll tell you what, while we're at Highway 1, let me just go ahead and add this in. Highway 1 northbound as you're approaching I-10, Highway 1 northbound as you're approaching I-10 is stop and go as of right now. It's the delays cross the Port Allen Canal. So you'll start to hit the brakes around the racetrack and then continue with your foot on the brake all the way up until you hop on the interstate. Going back to if you're coming in from Livingston Parish or points beyond, you might want to think about taking an alternate route. Probably wouldn't hurt if you hopped off and took Florida Boulevard to get downtown, because I am showing no delays on Florida at this time. On your surface streets, the only other thing to look out for right now, there's an accident, O'Neill at Medical Center. So that's just south of I-12. That's your look at traffic from the Talk 107.3 Traffic Center.
Say you don't know
624 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Oh, Bree Lynn, I'm looking at the calendar, and guess who's coming in on Friday? You know, there's only one person I tease this far out.
Oh,
So
gosh. Rocco.
yes.
Yes.
Yep. Looking forward to it. Rocco will be in on Friday. What do you want to have? I mean,
Well, I can't eat shellfish, and I know it's still Lenten season.
yeah.
Maybe some catfish. Because we had cod last week. We can do catfish.
We did have
this
cod
week.
last week from David's.
Yeah.
So
We can do catfish.
well,
Some French fries.
I'm going to let him get creative.
Yep.
So,
He always brings in good stuff.
yes, he does. Yes, he does. And not just the food. I just love having Rocco in with us. Getting back to sports that we ran long on because of it was Sabrina Carpenter's fault, not mine. At LSU Pro Day, out in front of NFL scouts, coaches, executives, quarterback Garrett Nussmeier looked like the Nussmeier from the 2024 season when he threw for 4,000 yards. Nussmeier was, he completed 69 of his 72 passes. Now, this is without a defense, so bear in mind, and you're meant to show off and look good on your pro day. But there was that abdomen injury that held him back all last season. He says he had to learn how to throw the football correctly in a short period of time before competing in the Senior Bowl. That's basically what he told reporters yesterday.
I had 9 days to get everything right before I got to Mobile. And so that was when I first started to be able to rotate and use my core again. So it was a long process, created a lot of bad habits as well throughout the season, just trying to get the ball out of my hand, doing whatever I could just to get it out. But it's definitely been good for me to almost retrain everything from the ground up again.
Yeah. There's so many what ifs of last year. So many how things could have gone from last year. I mean, if they had just sat him the entire time and said, you just sit and heal. Don't throw. Don't work out. Watch Judge Judy. Like, just sit and heal. As opposed to continually going back out and re-aggravating what was. Or how would that have looked? And I guess we'll never know. Nussmeier's injury contributed to the underwhelming performance on offense. Also hurt his draft stock a lot. Nussmeier says the experience, however, is only going to make him better.
It was a tough year, a lot of adversity, a lot of things I had to go through. And ultimately, looking back on it, it was unfortunate, but it is going to make me a better player. And so I love LSU, always be a Tiger, always bleed purple and gold. And I'm going to do my best to represent those three letters in the next level.
Absolutely. He will always be a Tiger. Moving from Nussmeier, keeping it with Pro Day, though, projected first-round draft pick and cornerback Mansour Delane ran a 4.35. He ran a 4.35 40. Linebacker Harold Perkins had a 35-inch vertical leap and broad jump of 10 feet 4 inches. West Weeks ran a 4.5 in the 40. Receiver and kick returner Barry Brown. He's expected to be a late-round pick, but Brown is just grateful for the opportunity to be out there.
Honestly, this is a dream come true. Since I was a little boy, I always wanted to play football, and honestly, never think I'd make it this far. So, dream come true and life-changing for sure. And I feel like I put my best foot forward out there today and gave the scouts what they was looking for, catching the ball, running with the ball, special teams. So, overall, just thankful for this moment.
You know what I've skipped when I was talking about Nussmeier's draft stock dropping? I didn't say where he was projected to land. He's expected to be a third-day pick, probably fourth round, fifth round up in there. And, man, I got to tell you, like, I know the Saints have their quarterback, Tyler Shuck, but it would be worth burning a fourth-round pick on Garrett Nussmeier as the backup. You draft Garrett Nussmeier in case Shuck doesn't work out or he just straight up impresses you when he gets in. Because there was so much about Nussmeier before this season, before we all get disappointed, that he was on track to be the number one. So the NFL draft is April 23rd through the 25th. Should have at least a few LSU Tigers hear the names called. While I've got a quick second, let me remind you about the folks over at Guarantee Health. GuaranteeHealth.com is the website, GuaranteeHealth.com, bridging the gap between healthcare and hospitality. At Guarantee Health Solutions, what they strive to do is help healthcare organizations grow by blending the service standards of hospitality with the care delivery of healthcare. Basically, is the front of your office matching the back of your office, and would your patients say the same thing? They've got 4 pillars set up with which to help you achieve if you're in the healthcare business. If you check out GuaranteeHealth.com, GuaranteeHealth.com, Highly recommend checking them out, learning a little bit more about what they do, and more importantly, how they do it. And then, set up an appointment. GuaranteeHealth.com. Okay, we've only got a minute left until news. So on the back end of news, we're going to talk with Jeff Crouere. He's the host of Ringside Politics. Jeff and I, we're going to talk about the New Orleans airport. We're going to talk about the partial governmental shutdown. We're going to get brought up to speed on everything going on down in New Orleans right now that is on the way. After Jeff, we are going to talk about the Trump bridge. So a lot still to come this hour, a heck of a lot still to come throughout the whole show. Looking forward to all of it. Right now, though, we are coming up on 6:30 at Talk 107.3 FM, which means we'll get the latest from ABC News. Louisiana Radio Network will have our local news. We'll check traffic, we'll check weather, and then we're right back at it next, right here on Talk 107.3.
Hey, good morning. Hey, we're going to come to you in 2 minutes.
Oh, good morning, Christy. Welcome in, boo. Ew. .637 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Every Tuesday we get checked in down in New Orleans. Jeff Crouere is the host of Ringside Politics. He joins us right now. How are you, man?
Hey, good morning, Brian.
Glad to have you on this morning. We would be remiss if we started anywhere but the airport. So let's start there. What's the latest with the long lines, the waits, and I mean, is this all based off of TSA, or is there any likelihood that workers come back without pay?
You know, we've had, I think, our share of troubles down here, and this is just a nightmare all over the country. But we're being particularly hit hard because of a lot of, and understandably, I mean, these TSA agents, I mean, don't make a lot of money as it is. They're not getting paid. Many have had to quit to find other work. Many are, trying to work other places to make ends meet. So we've got a real shortage. And, yesterday you had ICE agents at the airport helping with this crisis. So we were one of the airports that, ICE agents worked in, and, it was just another day of long lines. But I think just having additional hands on board certainly helped.
Helping in what role? Because, I mean, some of the stories that I've read have been more anecdotal, personal, man on the street stories, talking about people's individual responses to seeing ICE at the airport. But as I understand it, the TSA agents are doing all the technical stuff that needs the training. And I'm not trying to oversimplify, but the ICE agents are retrieving the gray bins.
Yeah, I mean, from what I understand, the ICE agents are doing crowd management, supporting roles, just helping TSA agents just trying to relieve some of the burden that is not involving the technical work that, the TSA agents do to keep the traveling public safe. So this is just supplementing them and helping in certain ways that I'm sure are appreciated. I mean, it's obviously not a priority to, crack down on illegals at the airport. I mean, I think they're just, helping with this crisis. So, I mean, they're unmasked. So you don't have masked ICE agents. That's been something that, you've heard from the Democrats. And that's led to this whole thing. It's all been about ICE. There's this whole TSA, DHS shutdown that we've had now for weeks.
Which, as I understand, that ICE's funding comes from a different source, which makes the shutdown means the shutdown makes no sense.
It makes no sense, and it's harming people. I
Right.
mean, it really is harming these agents. It's harming the traveling public. I mean, it's crazy. I had interviews scheduled. People couldn't do it because they had to get to the airport, 4 or 5 hours early. It's just insane. So makes you wonder why people just don't drive. I mean, I had the guy tell me he was waiting hours to fly to Houston. I'm like, just drive. I mean, it's not
Right.
it's not that far.
Well,
But-
look, I will very unapologetically say it. The Baton Rouge Metro Airport's a sponsor of this show. If a 1 hour drive can save you 3 hours, 4 hours, then we're here for you. We're here for you all the time.
Exactly. So anyway, this is an unfortunate situation. I think it is hopefully going to be temporary. It all depends on whether some kind of agreement can be reached. It looks like they're meeting today. Maybe we'll have some progress, Brian. But I mean, there's so many different things where you have conflicts and disagreements. I mean, it's frustrating that we just can't have better cooperation among our leadership.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, 1,000%. We're talking Jeff Crouere, host of Ringside Politics. One of the other big stories down in New Orleans right now is we saw a verdict in the stage wreck scam. What were some of the immediate responses and takeaways from these two lawyers being found guilty?
Breathtaking. I mean, multi-year scam, unprecedented in the scope of this. I mean, we're talking about something that went on for 13 years.
Right.
And scores of different people involved in this. I mean, they're found guilty on all counts. We're talking about years and years in prison that they're going to be sentenced to. They're going to be sentenced by someone that's known as tough, and that is Wendy Vitter,
Yep.
who's the chief district judge. So I don't think there's going to be any leniency here. But I mean, what a situation! I mean, recruiting people to be quote unquote slammers,
Right.
recruiting people to take unnecessary operations. Just breathtaking. It really is.
Well, you skipped over offing the head slammer who wrote the blueprint for it. I mean, one of the guys that was one of the slammers that kind of set the tone for how they go about this, like made this such an intricate process when it comes to staging the accident in the first place. He got clipped. He got rubbed out, as the mob movies would say.
Right, because I mean, we're talking about so much money here.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about massive amounts of money. But what a scam! And obviously, it is something that does not give the local legal community, a very good reputation, because these were, law firms involved in this. So, I mean, better late than never that this was finally prosecuted, and it was a very, very long and detailed investigation that provided the evidence here, but it was overwhelming.
Now,
so I mean,
are these two lawyers the only ones that are going to take a hit, or are we expecting more in the form of, I don't know, doctors that were performing unnecessary surgeries? Because you can't tell me that Vanessa Mata and Jason Giles were the only two in on this. I mean, they had a network all the way through. So unless everybody beneath them rolled over on them, is there going to be more?
I think there will be more people that were certainly involved in those law firms. Because I mean, they couldn't have done all of this, as you say, on their own. I mean, this was a complex operation.
Oh yeah.
Involving layers of people that were involved in this, huge amounts of money. So yeah, I mean, I think there'll be other people involved. I think this is going to be something that's going to have long-term ramifications. I mean, this was one of the law firms was a law firm that was, very well known in the community. So they're calling it epic proportions here.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's breathtaking, really. So we'll see how long these these lawyers are going to be going to jail, but I would consider it to be a long time. I think they're going to be going away for a while.
Hey, speaking of long-term scams that are costing New Orleanians a ton of money, how's LaToya doing?
I guess she's having a hard time because I don't think she's allowed to see her boyfriend, if I'm not mistaken. So that must be tough on her right now. But she's been very quiet. She hasn't been in the news while while she awaits what's going to happen to her legally. So, I mean, I think all the focus has been on the problems that Helena Moreno has inherited. I mean, it's been over 2 months now, and it seems like every day there's a new crisis. A water main breaking, more money missing, just one crisis after another. I mean, airport problem. I mean, it's incredible. But, she's going to have a nice honeymoon because people, I think, are just so glad that LaToya's gone.
Right.
I mean, 8 years of chaos and really the city taking many, many, many steps backwards. And, it's going to take a while for Helena to really right the ship. But she's got a lot of goodwill, and I think people are, I've seen recent poll numbers that have come out that show that people are feeling more optimistic in New Orleans than they have in a while, which is good.
Did I see $220 million in the hole? Is that what she inherited?
That is the figure that I've been using.
Mm-hmm.
But Brian, I think it could be bigger than that.
And you talk about that's just what's in the hole. That's not what it's going to cost to dig out of the hole. That doesn't include the billions of dollars to redo sewage and water. Like, at just every step along the way that you start at the negative 220, not work ahead from it.
Right. And as they dig into this, there'll be more and more that they're going to uncover when the legislative auditor continues his work. I mean, they're babysitting the city of New Orleans right now for good reason. Yeah. I mean, we've got a lot of money on the line here. So I know the city doesn't want to have this legislative audit team involved, but that's too bad. I mean, it's either that or fiscal administration. So, I mean, Bogalusa's, under fiscal administration. I mean, other areas have had that as well. And I think the whole process was put together to try to give this new administration a chance so that it would be, very involved, but not too involved. It would still have some independence, and hopefully they'll be able to right the ship. Joe DeRusso is someone I think a lot of people have faith in as chief administrative officer, and he's a very competent guy. But I think what they're facing is just financially catastrophic. So it's going to be a real challenge.
Yeah.
Thankfully, you don't have those problems in Baton Rouge.
Yeah, well, you'd be surprised. We're undergoing an audit right now. Mayor President Sid Edwards walked into not nearly the size of Hornet's Nest that Helena Moreno did. But, I mean, Edwards is being, criticized when every ounce of funding that used to be, thanks to ARPA funds and federal dollars and natural disasters and all, I mean, once that dries up, you're not operating on your own city funds. So Mayor Edwards has got his own, audit going on and deep dive into digging us out over here as well. It's when you look at it in scale, Jeff, what y'all got going on is way, way worse. Hey, Jeff Crouere, host of Ringside Politics, also the host of Politics with a Punch. We're about due for another show, aren't we?
Yeah, coming up on Thursday. We're going to have a good time. It'll be over at the Quarter View, and love for some of your folks to make the drive down here. It'll be Thursday night. We got a great panel. The insurance commissioner is going to be on our panel, and we've got the incomparable Vince Vance, who's a music legend. We're going to be joined by the former Jefferson Parish president, John Young. We got some comedians on there. We got the Jefferson Parish Inspector General, who's got a big job, trying to crack down on, crazy spending going on in Jefferson.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be a lot of fun. We got a great group.
I'm marching St. Patrick's Day with John Young. I saw him Sunday before last. Or
Yeah.
no, last. Yeah.
Well, he's trying to resurrect his political career.
Going after the PSC seat. It's going to be him and Hilferty in the runoff, I'm sure.
And you got Mark Wright, who's a pretty.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah. So it's going to be a very interesting race.
Very, very much so. In the meanwhile, you got a show to get to. We always appreciate the time. We'll talk to you next Tuesday.
Thank you, Brian. Take care.
Thank you. You do the same. Here's your money now. Turn my mic on, but don't turn that off. Does this? There it is. What was that?
What?
That's off by 20 seconds.
What was that?
I was gonna do like a bit where we're like looking in on their conversation, but since it got back online.
What is going on?
Yeah.
Like, damn.
Mm-hmm. Till 11:12. quiet this morning. My apologies. LSU baseball, LSU softball, both in action tonight, both taking on Louisiana Tech. Whether you're going to Tiger Park or Alec Box Stadium, if you need any last-minute tailgate items, swing on by Mathern's in the Nicholson Gateway Shopping Center that is directly across the street from Tiger Stadium and is the closest full-service grocery store to either park. In fact, if you're going to be tailgating and, man, you know, from the time you get off work, you don't want to fire up a grill when you get out there. How about catering options? Hit up Mathern's.com or download the Mathern's Rewards app and take a look at the catering options they have available. So many different trays to choose from, whether you want to go finger sandwiches, boudin balls, chicken fingers. When it comes time for Friday at the box, they've got Lenten specials as well. Learn a heck of a lot more by downloading the Mathern's Rewards app today. Out of the state capitol, and you heard the story in our news from Louisiana Radio Network, out the state capitol yesterday, a bill that would lead to the naming of a new Baton Rouge bridge over the Mississippi River, naming it after President Trump. The state is looking at building the bridge south of Baton Rouge in Iberville Parish. They're down to 3 locations to choose from. The cost could run about $3 billion. Livonia Representative Jeremy Lacombe says, if naming the bridge after the president helps bring home the federal dollars to build the bridge, he's all for it. Cut 10.
We need this bridge more than anything. We need the bridge for hurricane evacuations. We need the bridge so that our people can have a way of life. We need the bridge for economic security. We need the bridge in a whole host of issues.
Absolutely, we do. Lacombe amended the bill to say that the bridge will only be named after President Trump if the federal government provides a substantial amount of funding for construction and if such funding is provided prior to January 20th, 2029. Love the move. It's kind of a brilliant move, because then you're not going to end up in a situation where you're just held off ad nauseum for funding. As you don't get the thumbs up, and then when Trump is out of office, somebody else jams it up. That would help ensure that it comes this way in a timely manner. Now, Monroe Representative Mike Eccles is the author of the legislation. He says a new bridge is needed to alleviate traffic congestion within the capital city.
We're tired of being stuck in traffic. We're tired of not being able to move commerce, our friends and family, over and across that river.
Eccles says he introduced the legislation to get the president's attention that another bridge is needed in the Baton Rouge area, and it needs support from the federal government.
This project is $3 to $4 billion, and we've been talking about it for 30 years.
And isn't that exactly what would be in Donald Trump's wheelhouse for the kind of project you'd like to brag on? I know it's not a new book by any stretch of the imagination, but if you've read The Art of the Deal, raise your hand. How many times within the book, The Art of the Deal, does Donald Trump write about, how many times does he take note of the number of projects in New York City that couldn't get done? They couldn't get done. You call on Donald Trump, it gets done. This would be, I'm totally with Mike Eccles on this one. This would be the perfect wheelhouse opportunity to get movement on this where no one else could before. This is the kind of thing that feeds right into what Donald Trump's all about. Now, you can hate Trump all day long. That's fine. That's fine. It ain't going to stop the concrete you drive on. And it would be nice to get that kind of concrete. In the meanwhile, how about a secondary shout out to Mike Eccles for earned media? We're talking about this. I do a weekly hit on a show down in New Orleans on Tuesday afternoons with Corey Johnson. He's talking about this. Obviously, Louisiana Radio Network is talking about this. Mike Eccles' name has been repeated a lot over the last 2 weeks because of this one bill. He's doing a lot of other stuff in the legislative session, but this bill in particular is garnering him a lot of free press, which, oh, by the way, if you weren't paying attention, he's in a race for the 5th Congressional District. So free press is kind of good for him right about now. That's whether you like it or not, you're hearing his name a heck of a lot during a campaign season. 6:59, about to be 7 o'clock. Here's news. hot in here today. Yeah. Do what?
The chat's lighting up.
About the Donald Trump bridge?
No, Helena Morena.
What about her?
Just saying the issue she's going to have to fight, And
She has very quickly become a sympathetic character.
right. And saying, how can you fail? You can only go up from here,
By not fixing anything. But if you don't fix anything, like if she can fix the sewer and water problems, then she's the best mayor in the last century.
Stop.
What?
Kim. The only thing I learned from LaToya is that if I can get lucky enough to be voted into office, I can get a cute boyfriend and take him on trips to Paris with me on people's dime. Kim.
Yeah. Oh, man. Cutting the grass across the street. Stupid. 7:05. Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along, dipping down 1 degree from the 6 o'clock hour to the 7 o'clock hour. We're at 55 degrees in downtown Baton Rouge. Brian here with you, Bree Lynn producing. We are broadcasting live from the 180 Pros studio. Not your IT provider, your IT partner. Learn what that's all about at 180pros.com. Busy hour this hour. We're going to check in Ascension Parish. Donnie Miller slated to join us at 7:15. He is at he is where half the world is at right now. I'm sorry, no. Donnie's going to check in with us from Ascension Parish. Tommy Faucheux from Louisiana Mid-Continent Oil and Gas Association going to check in at 7:35. Tommy is where half the world is at right now at what I believe is pronounced Cera Week, CERA. Cera Week going on, and I can't tell you the number of guests I've been trying to line up this week to talk about legislative matters that are over there. I want to wait till they get back before they come on the show. So, looking forward to hearing from Tommy from the Mid-Continent Oil and Gas Association. This hour, those were our two guests, Donnie Miller from Ascension Parish and Tommy Faucheux from Louisiana Mid-Continental Oil and Gas Association. 8:05, State Representative Chuck Owen is going to join us. We're going to talk about some of the what-ifs along the way in the carbon capture debate. He put out a great column, a great column, and you know what? I printed the thing without printing the name of the paper. I think it was Rapides. Well, I highlighted. I hit a copy and paste because you can't print directly from the paper.
Yeah,
it was Rapides Parish Journal. Whatever the paper of record is for Rapides Parish. So we're going to talk about some of those what ifs. See if we don't have some answers along the way. In the meanwhile, though, top stories and trending. Let's get it. Bum, bum, bum. Danny Allen Hobgood, a Slaughter alderman, has agreed to pay a $2,500 civil penalty to settle claims by the state ethics board that he wrongly benefited through his auto shop's dealings with the town government. The short version of the story is 3 different town vendors had work done over at Hobgood Garage, and that is apparently a no-no. The pilot of a small plane was killed when an aircraft crashed into the swamp in Rapides Parish. Data from the FAA showed us on Monday. The crash occurred near Sharp, which is west of Boyce. Both these towns are about 120 miles northwest of Baton Rouge. The FAA said yesterday that the only person on board the plane was the pilot. The plane was registered to a person in California. Take you out to St. George and shout out to our news partners at WBRZ for this one. Starting today, there will be partial lane closures along a stretch of Bluebonnet Boulevard. According to officials, the closures will take place between Gale Drive and Jefferson Highway. They're expected to last through Friday. The work is part of East Baton Rouge Parish's Sales Tax Street and Road Rehabilitation Program. There will be some delays as a result of this, obviously, so please plan ahead. LSU's golf course is about to be shut down. The school made the announcement yesterday. Starting May 9th, they're going to start the tear down. June 30th, it will be closed for good forever. This is to make way for the new LSU Arena that will be based primarily, the LSU Arena, Nicholson and Crouere. BRPD is investigating a fatal Sunday night shooting on Longfellow Drive. Now, according to the department, officers arrived at the 3300 block of Haley Drive around 9:25 p.m. They found 23-year-old Samuel Love shot to death. During their investigation, they learned he was actually shot over on Longfellow and then tried to run away, and then was eventually he succumbed to his injuries when he got to Haley.
Republican senators in the White House are working on a proposal to fund most of the Department of Homeland Security, which would get TSA officers paid and hopefully end the misery at the nation's airports.
You know what? Let's go.
Yeah.
We got Congressman Troy Carter slated for 8:35. Little DC Kurt presented by the Louisiana Association of Business and Industry. Looking forward to that conversation because that's going to be our first topic of conversation. We're also going to talk about cannabis.
Go from that. Cannabis.
I mean, one would cause a want for the other, to be sure.
Right. You stress out, do another.
Yeah.
All right. President Trump says talks are underway with a high-level member of Iranian government to end the war.
So, do we have who the member of the government is?
So I went to find articles, and the one line I found says Trump would not name who the U.S. is negotiating with from Iran, but said it is not the new supreme leader, Ayatollah Khamenei, noting the White House has not heard from him at all. So I can't find the article with the man's name, this high-level member. But I feel like I know it because you've said it numerous times.
I think I have. As I understand it, it's the Iranian equivalent of the Speaker of the House, if that makes sense.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
It's obviously not a one-to-one. It's not an apples-to-apples thing. But if you had your Iranian version of the Speaker of the House, that's who they're talking to.
Okay.
But the thing is, how much control does he have over anything?
Right. And does he have any?
If you've got one person named Supreme Leader, talking to anybody else kind of sounds like you're spinning your wheels.
Right.
Because they're not Supreme Leader.
So true.
Talking to Snoke?
James Eastman, a surfer in Northern California, was attacked by a shark last week. He survived by punching the shark in the nose. But get this, his wife is an emergency room nurse where he was sent to the hospital.
There's so much to unpack here.
I know. I need the full story.
The first question you have to ask, and by the way, shark alligator rule in effect. But the first question you have to ask is this an episode of Grey's Anatomy or an episode of Scrubs? Because that is definitely going to determine how this conversation plays out.
Right.
You know, does the wife lose all color in her face when he's wheeled in with blood splurting out like he's in a Tarantino film, and you know, just the absolute the sheer terror of seeing your husband wheeled in after being attacked by a shark. Conversely, if this were an episode of Scrubs, then it leads to a whole "I told you so" diatribe.
Right.
You know, you weren't supposed to be out there telling you. One was going to get you one day.
Like, damn it, James.
Yeah.
Like, you're always trying to get into things, James. Now this. Now you don't have an arm.
Right? How many times? And you couldn't unload the dishwasher with two hands. Not expecting any help when you got one.
Right. Now you really won't do anything. I'm going to have to go find this story. James Eastman, a surfer in Northern California.
I'll forward it to you. We're at 712 at Talk 107.3 FM. Donnie Miller from the Ascension Parish Chambers slated to join us next. Before we take our break, though, I want to remind you about Landmark Bank, landmarkbankla.com, a community bank since 1897. And here in 2026, as they have survived for literally half of the life of our nation, they remain a community bank. Staying true to their core, staying true to their mission for well over 100 years, going on, well over 125 years. Learn more at landmarkbankla.com. If they're in your community, they're a part of your community, and this makes all the difference when mapping out where you want to be for retirement, when mapping out if you want to move into your forever home or scale back down again later on, or you're opening your kids' first savings account, no matter where you're at. Landmarkbankla.com as a community bank is your community banker.
Byron, I gotta say, you make my day all the time.
Doesn't he, though? He keeps beating me by like 5 points in Words with Friends, and it's frustrating.
Hey, we're gonna come to you in 2 minutes. All right, hang on. Byron, I gotta say, you're witty like Brian. Brian always pipes up with stuff.
Remember Baghdad, but there is no war. There's no war. Missiles literally in the background shot of the TV shot. Matt's got it. Iranian Parliament Speaker Mohammad Bagher Galibaf. Bagher.
I would
The
say
H may be silent.
Halabav.
I don't know.
Yeah,
You
Galibaf.
keep not pronouncing the K in Khomeini like everybody else in the world pronounces.
Right. Well, I'm going off of what is it, NBC?
No, everybody says Khomeini.
Don't let Brian fool you. He won like 20 games in a row.
That's a stretch. What is going on out in Ascension Parish? Every month or so, we like to get caught up on the goings-on of Ascension with their head of their Chamber of Commerce, Donnie Miller. He's on with us now. Donnie, how are you, man?
Hey, Brian. Good morning. Happy to be with you this morning.
Not glad to have you on. We got a lot to talk about. There has been, I tell you, before we get to what's going on in Ascension, I want to ask you something that's a little bit off the radar here, but Ascension obviously right next to Iberville. Iberville is where the new bridge is going to be. how much is Ascension brought into the talks and planning? Because we're down to the 3 locations and whatnot. But like if you land on Highway 30, that spills right over to you, like, 2 seconds later. So how much is Ascension brought into what's going on right now with the bridge?
Yeah, Ascension's at the table. Those conversations are happening in real time, usually led by our parish, though. So under parish president Clint Quickmaw and his team, that all infrastructure conversations are being had at the parish level. Unfortunately, not at the chamber level at this point.
Yeah, it's important to remember, because we are like, this is still progressing. It's slow, but it's still progressing, and literally we all need a seat at the table, because while the bridge will take off and land in Iberville Parish on either side of the river, it's just a sliver of Iberville on this side before you're either back in EBR or over in Ascension. So I just wanted that little check in real quick. What y'all got going on right now?
Man, what do we not have going on, right? Every time you and I catch up, there's always a million things happening, which is great. It's good to see the activity. The latest is tonight. We have our industry appreciation event, which is usually a tailored down, a trimmed down version of our larger events. This is a way just to say thanks to industry and what we like to say, the hand that feeds our community, making sure we bring everybody together to recognize them. And look, the companies, the workforce, really to understand and help showcase the power of Ascension Parish's economy.
Okay, so let's expound on the word industry. When you say industry appreciation event, that covers a lot of ground. And in Ascension Parish, y'all seem to touch on a whole lot within the parish. So walk me through a little bit about what type of industry, and just the diversity of who y'all have gotten, who's doing business out there.
70% of the Ascension Chamber membership are organizations that are 30 employees or less. So we really are made up of our small business community.
Yeah.
To answer your question, this is an opportunity to focus on our 39 plant/facilities that make up Ascension Parish, and along with the service industry that supports them. So we usually, our luncheons are a couple hundred people. Our larger events are 500, 600, 700, 800 people. This is a tight 200 plant managers, plant management and their leadership, some elected officials, and then some service industry. And a polite way of saying it, this is not an event for a lot of our smaller mom and pop operations, although they can have some level of participation in major industry. But really, this is not something for our real estate agents and something for our small solo entrepreneurs. This is for big industry, making sure that we get all the right people in the room, talk about what's going on, but also highlight the importance that we understand. Again, they are the hand that feeds our community.
No, they absolutely are. And one of the great things about Louisiana, Ascension Parish, yes, but it mirrors Louisiana as well, is that when you talk about, oil and gas, you talk about big chemical plants, when you talk about anything up and down the river, when you think about them in other places, they have these monoliths that are big business. Here in Louisiana, the backbone of our economy is all those mom and pops that service the big business. So without the big business that's there, the mom and pops don't exist. It's a symbiotic relationship that we seem to take advantage of on the lower level.
So tonight is a conversation, amongst leaders. It is not presentation heavy, although I will be giving a speech, and the message is not only support of industry, recognizing that the chemical industry is going through, one of its valleys compared to one of its peaks right now within the industry. So calling that out, but also understanding that the one thing Ascension does really well is we band together for economic development and growth. And of course, we're seeing a tremendous amount of growth and investment coming into the community. But now what do we do with that? And how do we respond to maybe difference of opinion as industry, especially when it comes to carbon capture? And how do we hold the line as a community to continue supporting one another for growth?
How much can you pull back the curtain on that with the carbon capture, especially? Because we're finding there's a lot of disagreements out there, but it's not like militant disagreement, or at least not yet. It's not. We're finding that a lot of folks are open to conversation.
They are. The conversations are happening. It's not closed doors. But what I would say, what I've noticed about entering into the community of Ascension over the past year and a half, is that everybody's pulling in the same direction. So, and I've said it before with you, and I'll double down on it because I really believe it to be true. Between Sheriff Bobby Weber and Parish President Quickmaw and Chancellor Taylor and our mayors and our K-12, everyone is pulling in the same direction. So to answer your question on carbon capture, we understand that the future of Ascension, and we understand that the future of our growth trajectory in this investment is going to be tied to some level of carbon capture.
Yeah, I mean, it's those two things seem to be tied at the hip every time you turn around. Donnie Miller heads up at the Ascension Parish Chamber of Commerce, joins us roughly every month to get an update on what's going on out in Ascension. Donnie, let's talk about how the relationship with the mom and pop or the smaller business is absolutely vital here in Louisiana. Talk to me a little bit about what the chamber has to offer when it comes to y'all are offering a new insurance supplement for membership.
Yeah, we sure are. So we're constantly trying to think about how do we add value to chamber members without increasing rates and increasing prices. And when I came to this role, the one thing that popped up again and again was some sort of insurance component. Now, I said, yeah, let's go get it done. Easier said than done. So we have not been able to fully pack a medical insurance component. But what we have been able to do is offer a new benefits package designed specifically for our members, our member businesses, and their employees. And what it is the program is intended to strengthen employer benefits and, of course, the offerings while embracing the employee well-being, offering retention, assistance, and overall workplace satisfaction. So we've partnered with a fantastic company and great member, Gallagher. We've been able to significantly reduce costs and making this accessible and a practical option for our members. So what it is, through this initiative, chamber members, companies, for a very, very low cost per person, it opens up 24/7 telehealth, mental health support, financial wellness tools, prescription savings programs, and of course, a range of additional add-on protections, such as identity theft protection, accident and critical illness coverage, caregiver resources, and a whole lot more. So we just thought this was one step in the right direction for some of our smaller businesses to just to have some sort of supplemental benefit to go along with what they're offering their employees.
Well, that level of service is awesome, though, because, I mean, when it comes to insurance, there's always strength in numbers. And when you are one of those smaller businesses, you don't have the numbers. So if the chamber can, act as the magnet for all of those smaller businesses, you can really, accelerate what can be offered.
We just found that there wasn't something that was being offered in the market similar. And so when we approached Gallagher, not only were they excited to jump on, but they were able to come up with something creative. And so we, as the Ascension Chamber, are a pilot for this opportunity in the state. And of course, if it resonates with our members in Gallagher, hopefully they'll expand it beyond just Ascension Parish.
We're talking with Donnie Miller from the Ascension Parish Chamber. Want to get to another event actually two events coming up in April. We'll get to in a second. But can we check in on the Riverplex Mega Park real quick? What's construction looking like right now? As I understand it, we're actually in a spot that's visible for the people over there to physically see what's happening.
Yeah, things are moving in the right direction. I always joke that on the economic development front, Ascension Economic Development Corporation with Kate MacArthur drives a lot of the development aspect, and then once the companies are here, they're up and running, and that's when the Chamber of Commerce will jump in and start maintaining that level of activity. But you're right, we are seeing things moving in the right direction, and I'm seeing more activity out of the companies that have made these recent announcements, which is a really good sign that they're ramping up in the right direction.
Well, in that process, though, I mean, we're already with Hyundai and CF. We're already to the point where they've been handed off to, from economic development to businesses that are being built. So where would you put that on the timeline?
Yeah, I would say, we're still a couple years out, but I'm already receiving text messages when it comes to, the hiring process. So I would say if that's on your radar, make sure to keep your eyes open because they're already starting to ramp up and hire individuals.
See, I would be out there with a reflective jacket on trying to direct dump trucks in the right direction. Let's get things moving, baby.
Sign so they see you.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's make sure everybody's getting where they need to be. Donnie Miller from the Ascension Parish Chamber is our guest. Want to pivot over. Coming up in April, y'all have a pretty big event that I want to touch on. The Women in Business event on April 22nd.
Yeah, so what great news about April 22nd, not only is it our Women in Business, but it's also Ascension Parish Day at the Capitol.
Oh, that's already on my calendar.
Oh yeah, it's a full day of fun. But when it comes to Women in Business, this marks our 10th year for hosting this special event. Again, April 22nd. It's held at the Gonzalez Pace Center, and I would estimate about 500 individuals. Although we are starting to put shopping experiences and some of our fun aspects to the conference outside, so we can open up even more opportunity. But there are just a handful of individual tickets left. But this is an event where we bring in speakers, we bring in extra components when it comes to tailoring your fashion or your resume building to the industry. And look, I've been to numerous events through the chamber. This one's exciting to bring in 500 stakeholders, 500 decision-making women into one room. It's a powerful moment.
All the information, the pertinent information, is up over at y'all's website. If you wanted to check it out a little bit further. Getting over to Ascension Day at the Capitol real quick before we get you out of here, Donnie, and thank you for hopping on board this morning. Ascension Day at the Capitol, for those that are unfamiliar with what that looks like, give us the rundown.
Yeah, this is a chance for our community, our parish, to connect with legislators as they're coming out of session. So we snag them usually around 4:30, 5 o'clock in the afternoon. We bring out music. We bring out all of our industry. We bring out all of our community stakeholders. And it's a great opportunity. It's a salesman's dream, to be honest, to have everybody in a target-rich environment like this. But we're going to bring out a couple hundred people. There'll be tents. There'll be restaurants. There'll be food. This year, we've partnered even more with our parish president. Pam Matassa at the parish has been leading this, along with J.C. Gill from my team, and also Tracy Browning from tourism. So we've really leaned into what we found a lot of success through the past few years, and we've knocked it up a notch this year. So put it on your calendar around, I'd say 5 o'clock to 8 o'clock, April 22nd, down at the Capitol Museum Park.
I don't know if you know this or not. Pam actually made business cards just for the Ascension Parish Day at the Capitol. So yes, if she is running into anybody, they've got the card that has it on their calendar already. So it is in my calendar to be sure. So we'll see you out there.
Excellent. Well, we're excited to have you out there. This is a big day for Ascension, and we just want to keep moving with the momentum that we've seen over the past couple of years. And there's more to come. I promise you that.
Absolutely. Donnie Miller with the Ascension Parish Chamber. Always appreciate the time, man.
Thanks, Brian. Have a good rest of the week.
You do the same. We are at 7:29, about to roll over to 7:30 here at Talk 107.3 FM. Need just a quick minute to remind you about the folks over at NeuroJust. If you or someone you love is battling with anxiety or depression and have been treatment resistant, what does that mean? You don't like the way you feel on the antidepressants. You don't like the meds. You don't like the prescription drugs. You're seeing limited effects or diminishing returns. The sit down, talk it out therapy is good for some people. And if it's good for you, great, stick with it. But if those options aren't for you, might I suggest TMS therapy, transcranial magnetic stimulation. This is an FDA-approved therapy that targets the areas of your brain responsible for mood regulation. Think of it like physical therapy for the brain. Also think about this. Insurance picks up the tab, so you've got nothing to lose. If you don't like the way the meds make you feel, if you aren't seeing results from the traditional talk it out therapy, give NeuroJust a look. NeuroJust. Neurojust.com is the website. You can call them at 225-330-7382. But I would start at the website, neurojust.com. Tommy Faucheux next. Oh, how are you, sir? Sorry, I saw your, as soon as I saw your text, Breland was already downstairs. So I was going to flag her down. So you didn't have to wait long? Do what? You're up after him. Okay. Likewise, always. Oh. How's things been going in the session?
Kind of like wrestling or boxing. You're kind of warming up in a corner.
Okay.
We're just now kind of moving to the middle of the ring.
Okay.
Some contentious things are happening. There's going to be something really contentious Thursday in judiciary.
Anything you can share?
Yeah, I mean, it was Representative Dixon Macon's bringing a bill to make the judicial system inside of New Orleans work like the rest of the state. I mean, how radical is that?
Shouldn't be. I mean,
I like this equal treatment under law. That's my favorite.
you know, there's something to be said for that.
There's a sign.
Wait, do what?
We'll come to you in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
There's a sign over the
Okay.
American U.S. Supreme Court says equal treatment under law.
It does. It does. Why is the New Orleans court different?
I can't wait to hear it. I'm on judiciary. I just got back on judiciary. My first 4 years I was here, and I really liked it. So I'm anxious to see this. Anxious to hear this.
Awesome. Mike Eccles is getting so much run out of this Donald Trump bill. It's such a good campaign move. He's getting so much free press statewide.
It was brilliant.
Yeah.
It was brilliant.
Yeah. I mean, and he said it on this show. He's like, I'm not going to apologize. I'm trying to stroke his ego. All right. That's what gets done. Let's go. What?
But we got a hot mic.
Live on Facebook. Yeah. No. Sorry. We had an on-air hot mic situation. We're always live on Facebook.
Oh, okay, good.
So, yeah.
Hello, everybody. Listening on Facebook.
I don't think the mics pick all the way up over there. State Rep Chuck Owen's already in the house. He is he's early, so gonna be hanging with us for a little bit. Did you want any coffee or anything? Yeah.
I was about to say no. I know I'm not a program one. Like a minute. I was like, don't freak me out.
No, my text one's going off quickly.
No, Roger let him in.
Okay. .736 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Tommy Faucheux with the Louisiana Mid-Continent Oil and Gas Association is in Houston this week for CERA Week, the Cambridge Energy Research Associates Week. He's on the hotline with us right now. Tommy, how are you, man?
I'm good, Brian. Good morning.
Good morning. Welcome aboard. How busy is Houston right now? Because I feel like of everybody I'm trying to call to get on the show, half of them are where you are.
Well, look, CERA Week in Houston is really the center of the energy universe. And I mean, when you look at, you have the CEOs, leadership, executives from literally the entire world's energy industry. All the big energy companies that you would think of, many of which operate in Louisiana, are here. It's really just a great showcase of what the energy industry does around the world, meeting the energy needs of everyone literally on the face of the planet. And so really it is busy, but it is really amazing to see what is happening around the world, and quite frankly, how that ties back to what we have been fighting for in Louisiana, advocating for on the energy front in all sectors.
In what respects? In what way is it tying back into what we're looking at here?
Look, I mean, yesterday, if we didn't hear, almost on repeat, the need for energy security here at home, obviously what's happening in Iran has found its way into every dialogue, into every conversation. Clearly, we are playing a part in that with offshore oil production and LNG exports. We heard a continuous loop of the need for more power around the world in the wake of, expanding technology around AI, the need for more data centers. You heard a lot about power, and everyone's talking about it. The major oil and gas companies are talking about the need for power. New startups are talking about the need for more power. And so clearly that is something we're talking about in Louisiana as well. Carbon capture came up quite often, as you do have companies here from the other side of the world and global players who are looking at the need for more low carbon energy. And we're going to talk about carbon capture and low carbon in a moment, so I'm not going to go too far there yet. And then LNG, I mean, the continued need to get gas to countries that can't provide energy for itself. Clearly, natural gas is seen as almost the lifeblood for many countries at this point. And, you're seeing a lot of movement in natural gas markets globally because of what's happening in Iran. The United States is playing a huge role, Louisiana at the center of that, because we're exporting a majority of the LNG needed for the world. And Louisiana, when you look at, Cheniere, who just had their 10th anniversary, Venture, who continues to expand, Commonwealth, who was wanting to invest, Woodside with $18 billion in investment, Cameron LNG, who just celebrated an anniversary over the summer. I mean, we're clearly playing in that. And so it's just great to have, we have a lot of Louisiana people here, the governor's here, LED is here, Department of Conservation is here, a big celebration yesterday of all things Louisiana energy. But it's great to have all those people here in the global context. I testified before the legislature last week about how Louisiana is part of the global energy puzzle. We're an important piece in making sure America is at the center of the energy universe. Here's where we're celebrating. Everyone is here talking about it. And I think it's important because it gives us the perspective. A lot of times, right, we kind of get in our own Louisiana bubble, whether it's in communities or even at the legislature, and we forget, we try to remind them, we forget that we are part of this global energy infrastructure and global energy industry. Here, it helps connect all the dots. And that's really what I'm hoping to do while I'm here. And then, we'll take some of what we are talking about, hopefully back to the Capitol next week, to start talking and reminding everyone of why we have to do our part. Because if not, the rest of the world, I can tell you, Brian, is moving so fast, they'll just simply pass us by.
Tommy Faucheux heads up the Louisiana Mid-Continent Oil and Gas Association, joining us right now. He is in Houston at what is the Super Bowl of energy, as they call it, going on all week. Tommy, when you say when we do our part, how much can we expand our part, and what does it take to get that done? Because I feel like we've got the tools, we've got the talent. What's not, what's holding us back?
Look, it's what I told the legislature last week. We have to control what we can control. And what is that? We've seen significant investment in LNG export capacity. That is something that we're actually doing extremely well. What we're finding is that there are more markets around the world that want that natural gas. So we have to keep on that path, for example. And I'm confident that Louisiana will do that. Now, some countries want lower carbon natural gas, and so that means LNG companies will continue to look at ways to reduce carbon emissions. CCS is a component for some of them, but that is one way where we do our part. We have finally returned to consistent offshore leasing in the Gulf of America. Yes, those are in federal waters, but we know that Louisiana is the doorstep to the Gulf. And so the service industry, when I was with one of my good friends, Chet Chasson from Port Faucheux last night, we were talking about the work that just Port Faucheux is doing to continue to support this, what has now become a more consistent offshore industry. That is huge because we're producing more oil here. We are energy independent to an extent. We are a net exporter of energy. Extremely important because that wasn't necessarily the case in past Gulf conflicts, like what you're seeing in the Middle East right now, when you were depending on more of that energy in the Middle East getting to the United States. Well, now, energy security is national security. I've said that 1,000 times. That's, again, another place where Louisiana's doing its part. And then, of course, we're trying to move the ball forward on a low carbon energy program with CCS. And I do believe when you talk about global needs for power, global needs for low carbon natural gas, lower carbon manufacturing. You have a lot of chemicals companies, materials manufacturing companies here. That too is extremely important. I was visiting with, Shintech just made their big announcement. Sunday Steel continues to be one we talk about. It all fits together. It's all connected. I think that's the key that we have to remember, Brian, is that it's all connected. The energy that goes into the materials, the manufacturing, it's all connected.
Tommy Faucheux from the Louisiana Mid-Continent Oil and Gas Association on with us for a couple more minutes. So let's talk about that connectivity and how that ties in to the whole carbon capture equation here. Is this how much of a I don't want to say breaking point, but how much of a deal breaker? Sorry, that was the term I was looking for. How much of a deal breaker is carbon capture when it comes to foreign companies that want us to export to them? ... But
I think companies around the world, if they're going to want Louisiana energy and more manufacturing in Louisiana, I think expect that it will come with lower carbon emissions. I think that's just becoming a given around the world. And that's extremely important because we are in week 3 of the legislative session and we have a slate of anti-CCS bills coming our way in the next few weeks. So it is important that we don't go down the path of passing legislation that makes it harder for us to deliver low carbon energy. I mean, we just have to take that big step past this repeated cycle of year after year coming to the legislature and trying to stop CCS, because clearly the world needs us to be producing that low carbon energy, and it's good for the state. So we have to do it. I feel like when talking with legislators, more and more are starting to see the big picture, which I am very grateful for. We know that there have been missed opportunities in the past because we're moving slower than I think a lot of people would like on CCS. Look, when I look at the legislative session this year, CCS is a big portion, but you also have workforce. There's a great package of workforce bills.
Yeah.
And I bring that up because we are trying to create opportunities for our kids to stay here at home. And while we're trying to, take down the barriers to CCS, we know that if we're successful there, it's going to create job opportunities for Louisiana kids. And so then this workforce package that helps streamline the education and preparation of our future workforce is extremely important. That's where we should be focused, because that's what sets up future families for success. Let's invest in the technologies that will continue to grow our oil and gas and energy industry, our manufacturing industry, and then let's create a workforce system that gets every kid in Louisiana ready to walk into those energy jobs and those manufacturing jobs. I mean, that's when I look at my teenage kids, when I look at our future, that's where we need to be focusing our efforts. And so really that's what I'm looking at the legislature, even though we're only in week 3.
Yeah.
But it is a worthwhile effort, and I think a noble cause.
Tommy Faucheux is with us for just a couple more minutes. Let's pivot to the legislature if we could, Tommy. By the way, when you talk about workforce like that, so my oldest daughter is a freshman at Southern Miss. She has officially left the state. I have no idea. As her dad, I have no idea if she's coming back. And when it comes to opportunity, I have no idea if I want her to come back. You know, it all depends on what we're doing right now on the home front to keep her to where her best, or the path for her best future is right here. That's up to us.
And you don't flip a switch on it, Brian.
No.
Right? I don't know. I don't know your daughter's timeline of making decisions, but I have friends who have recently.
It's remarkably slow. She's my oldest.
Yeah. but okay, so I get that. Maybe it's her dad's fault. But they are, in all seriousness, kids in high school today are trying to figure out where they're going to go to college 3, 4, 5 years from now.
Right.
I have friends whose kids are going to school in Mississippi and Alabama and other places. You don't just flip the switch. You have to start now showing these kids and their parents that there is a path for them to stay in Louisiana, not just to go to school, but then to graduate, be employed here, raise the family here.
Right.
You have to show that path. And every year that we continue to slow things down or say, well, yes, we're an energy state, but we'll hedge a little bit, or we won't commit fully. If you do that, you're not creating that path. These kids want certainty. I don't want my kids to have to take, a left turn, then a right turn. No, I want them to choose a path and hopefully have success. And so we have to do the work now for your daughter, for my kids, for everyone else's kids, to have some certainty 5-10 years out.
He is Tommy Faucheux from the Louisiana Mid-Continent Oil and Gas Association. Let's get you back on when you're back home, back in Baton Rouge, and we can take a closer look at some of the individual pieces of legislation that they're working through.
Appreciate it, Brian. Have a good one.
You do the same, and enjoy Houston while you're over there. 749 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. This day in history coming up in our next segment. That way we have room for Chuck Owen to run. We get State Rep Chuck Owen with us. We're gonna have a carbon capture discussion right here. He has some what ifs that some legitimate questions that need answering, and it's going to be a fun time. Good discussion with Chuck Owen on the way. Before we hit our break for your money now, I want to remind you about 180 Pros, 180pros.com. We like to say they're not your IT provider, they're your IT partner. Why do we like to say that? Well, the short answer is because it's true. Because they're invested in you. They base their success off of your success. Is your network up and running? If it's not, same day response time. You're not going to get that by calling some 800 number halfway around the world. Cybersecurity, latest in technology. They are always on the forefront on that front. And oh, by the way, when you give them a call, you do get someone local. 330-2200 is the phone number. 330-2200 or 180pros.com. Oh, do what? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. 8:05. Oh, you. Oh.
I thought I was starting at 7:35 today. I thought tomorrow was going to be 8:05.
Shoot, was it? Oh, no. My first slot available is 8:05 Tuesday. Also have 7:35 Wednesday if you'd prefer.
English is a wonderful language when you use it.
Let's see.
Thank you. I'm so sorry.
No, you're good, man. All good.
Are you from Baton Rouge?
No, sir. Born in Jefferson Parish, raised in Covington.
So you produce the Lady Tiger shows too?
I sure do. Some of them. I was on the board Friday night for the game, but not Sunday. So there's a team of like 6 of us that rotate between basketball and baseball. I do all the football, though.
Coach Mookie and I had class together.
No kidding.
I tell people she cheated on them. But in those days, Leon Barmore would have the students show up to class 10 minutes early.
Mhm.
Players, front row, all of them graduated. So Kim and I were both businessmen. I had class with Carl Malone too. So I held those briefs with some famous people. I was a walk-on the track team, so
Okay. So putting in the athlete circle, but the basketball didn't rub off. No osmosis. No basketball osmosis.
No. It was one of those things in life where I finally had to realize I didn't have the engine to do it. I was a pretty good high school runner.
Yeah.
I walked on in college, and it's like about 2 years into it, it's like I don't have the engine.
Yeah.
There's only so much you can make a body do.
Yeah.
But Kim was wonderful. And in her 4 years at Louisiana Tech, they lost 6 games.
Yeah.
6 games. That's it.
It's ridiculous.
She don't know how to lose.
Mm-mm.
It's not her skill set.
Nope. I've been so emotionally invested in this team. My daughters play, so I grew up playing basketball. My daughters play basketball, and my son's a work in progress. This particular team with Faucheux, they're such a wonderful group of girls to follow. Like it's very easy to be proud of them as a Tiger.
That's one of the best hires LSU's ever made.
Oh, I know. And they're never going to turn a dime off of her. Like you're never going to make money off women's basketball. So it's going to be a loss. It's going to be a net loss. It's going to be in the red. But no, who she is as a person is so much greater than, and she's a top 3 all-time coach, probably on her way to number 1. But who she is as a person exceeds that.
There's something funny too about when she played at Tech. Dennis Rodman's sister was on the team, and it looked just like him. It was Dennis. Her name was Deborah Rodman. I've seen the pictures.
Oh,
big, dude. And she too was an enforcer. She was like the first big man off the bench.
Okay.
She was elbows and rebounds. That was her skill.
Wow. Okay.
And on both national championships. Yeah, it was pretty close.
That's crazy. At some point, I'm going to have to do a segment on CBS News Radio.
On what?
CBS News Radio.
Are they bad?
They're shutting down. Overall 6% cut across the board at CBS News, and radio is just expendable. And like, how many radio stations across the country start the hour with that bong, dong, 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 and they were first and longest running, and now they're about to call it quits.
It's crazy. We're dealing with a million places to go.
Yeah.
But nowhere.
Exactly. No, that's exactly right. 7:55, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Normally we do This Day in History at 8:05, but I had the opportunity to talk with State Rep Chuck Owen about carbon capture. So we're bumping This Day in History up to right now. All right, Breland, what happened?
So we missed one yesterday.
What?
And I had it. So do
Unacceptable.
I know, right? So, do you know it was this time 6 years ago that John Bell Edwards enacted a wide stay-at-home order to encourage social distancing, and we had to be locked down to sit and just stare at walls, watch Netflix, talk to our spouse.
Yeah.
It was a weird time, and it feels like yesterday.
So weirdly enough, like there's a side part of this where we all got a little more centered.
Yeah.
I don't know if everybody went through this, but like I felt a lot closer to my wife and kids because I was around them a lot more.
Same.
And just one of the little side notes to take away from it. I mean,
and I just started drinking a lot too.
Also, problem drinker. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. Now, this day in 1958, Elvis Presley is drafted into the U.S. Army.
Really?
Massive cultural moment at the peak of his fame.
Mm-hmm.
In 1989, Exxon Valdez, the oil spill in Alaska, one of the worst environmental disasters in U.S. history.
No way.
This day.
Okay.
Yeah. I remember in the mid-90s, people were still talking about it in the effects of it.
No, absolutely.
It's just crazy.
Yep. It was a huge disaster.
Yep. In the year 2005, the U.S. version of The Office, created by Ricky Gervais and Stephen Merchant, premieres on NBC. I love that show. And Brian, I got to tell you, Ricky Gervais, he has a show that aired from 2010 to 2012. Freaking phenomenal on YouTube. It is so funny. It's just cartoon characters of Ricky Gervais and his normal crew, but it's super funny.
Okay.
In 2020, Japan's prime minister announced the postponement of the Tokyo 2020 Olympic and Paralympic Games to the summer of 2021. Once again, talking about COVID, due to COVID.
Yeah.
What else you got?
For this day, nothing. I got birthdays. I got a death.
Okay.
I got a national day. I didn't have anything on this day in history end.
Well, happy birthday to Peyton Manning.
I had that one.
Yeah, born in 1976. The Undertaker, 1965, legendary WWE wrestler.
All right.
Tommy Hilfiger, global fashion designer, 1951. Jack Johnson, born in 1995.
Okay.
That's all I got. Who you got?
Let's see. Businessman Steve Ballmer, born in 1956. Actor Steve McQueen, 1930. Harry Houdini, 1874. Former NBA star Chris Bosh is 42 years old today. And from the Big Bang Theory, Jim Parsons is 53.
I knew I missed him, and I had him. Okay, notable deaths today. I'm not going to go with any because I don't have any notable enough. What you got?
I got Jules Verne. How about that? He died in 1905.
All right, National Day today. Let's go with National Cheesesteak Day. And
That's the one I've got.
National Cocktail Day.
I don't have National Cocktail Day. I've got National Cheesesteak Day, though, so we will roll with that. And as your look at this day in history, we've got ABC News coming up in just a little bit. We'll check traffic on the back end. We'll check weather after that. And then State Representative Chuck Owen is going to be with us. The what ifs worth asking about carbon capture or carbon burial in central Louisiana. We're going to have the discussion. Also, next hour, Central's Mayor Wade Evans is going to join us. Cooking in Central is just around the corner. And Congressman Troy Carter, a little DC Current presented by LABI. That's all still to come right here on Talk 107.3 FM. Come on over. Yep. Okay. Turn left and left. No, but that was a vault for an insurance company.
Man, this building's been hospitals, insurance.
Hmm?
The mayor's in the chat.
Evans?
Mm-hmm.
What's up, Wade?
Here?
Yes, sir.
All right. Does this time make my hips look big?
That's no. And yes, we are always on Facebook. So.
All right. If I fall, it'll be fun.
Yeah, those wheels get active. So, but we've tried it without wheels where you got to drag it, and that doesn't work either. So.
'How old are your kids?
18, about to be 19, 13 and 9. So we got a good gap.
Fun ages.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
mentioned-
Girl, boy. So.
We were mentioning COVID a minute ago, and it does feel like it was yesterday.
Yeah.
And there were so many lessons learned. It was really weird being a lawmaker in that moment because we had the authority to stop it. And we issued a proclamation by Constitution says we can. Constitution gave us authority to stop it. And after 3 months, we issued a proclamation telling the governor to stop it, and he summarily ignored a legal order.
Remember that.
And then it went to court, and then nobody wanted to fight over it. The AG wouldn't fight over it. They just said, no, it's over. Let's just not fight over it anymore. It's like he disobeyed, the governor disobeyed a direct order that's constitutional.
Right.
The Constitution provided that if half of one of the bodies of the legislature wanted to end an emergency, they could. There were about 20 of us that would have killed it any day. After about a month, there were about 20 of us that started saying this is a bad idea. This is harming us. But it took a long time to get 50. I think we got 60 on board. People didn't want to fight him.
I don't understand why.
This powerful governorship we have in Louisiana is almost third world because they can redline down to the $1,000 projects fixing roads. I mean, it is punitive. It is third world. I may bring a law to try to stop that.
The problem is, like, does that law go anywhere though? Like, it's because you would have to think that if it could be done, it would have been done. I'm not saying don't try, absolutely try, but like, I mean,
it's the greatest lever the governor has of keeping legislators in line.
Mm-hmm.
Any governor,
right?
Any governor,
but it makes the governor a bully, whether the governor likes it or not.
It gives him the power. I understand Bobby Jindal was worst of all.
Really,
he was terrible. I understand he punished people on his side. On the other side, he was a punisher. John Bell certainly was.
Yeah.
In 2023, there were 19 of us that voted not to break the state budget. We had a surplus, and then 73 initially voted we're going to stay within our bounds, and here's what we're going to do. It came back from the Senate, and the Senate wanted to borrow $3 billion to go into the hole because they wanted more projects.
Yeah.
And the 19 of us that voted not to got our projects canceled. John Bell canceled every road project in my parish. Every one. Just because I voted not to break the budget.
That's so, like,
it's third world.
Yeah.
It's third world.
The part I don't understand of it though is, like, this dates back to Huey Long. I mean, he was a big bully too.
Oh yes.
But he put his name on every damn road out there.
Oh yeah.
So,
and before I leave, I'd like to get that made illegal too.
What
like when there's a road construction project brought to you by State Senator Umpty Frats.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
We don't bring that.
Mike Foster's name is on a plaque in every building up and down north.
Yeah. I have a problem with that. That's not public service to me.
No, it's definitely self-service.
It is. It is. So y'all are an ABC.
Do what?
You're ABC News, not CBS.
Right.
Huh? Okay.
We used to be CBS. I'll tell you the story some other time about why I made the call to bail on them. It was actually had to do with COVID.
Right.
806 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Hour 3 coming your way right now. Brian here with you, Bree Lynn producing. We are at 57 degrees in downtown Baton Rouge to start off your 8 o'clock hour. Of course, we're broadcasting live from the 180 Pro studio. We got a busy hour for you this hour, y'all. Central's Mayor Wade Evans is up next. We've got Troy Carter after that. Right now, though, I don't want to waste any time at all. I want to get this man as many minutes in front of the microphone as we possibly can. State Representative Chuck Owen's on with us. How are you, sir?
Doing well, Brian. Thank y'all for having me.
No, of course.
Appreciate
of course.
it.
I love having conversations.
This is the second time. I had you on the road one time.
That
First time in the building.
We were at Legislator, correct? Was that?
No, I don't think so. I was driving.
Oh, no, you were on the road. Okay.
Yeah.
No, no. I remember seeing you at Legislator and you were wearing out a woman from Exxon over carbon capture with the what ifs that you want answered.
We were having a very energetic and respectful discussion. That was a smart lady.
Yes.
And she was completely bewildered as to the dynamics of where I live.
Okay.
She was fully informed of South Louisiana, but she had no idea of the dynamics of where I live and why it's such a problem there, why it's such a concern there.
Why is it a concern there?
There are multiple reasons. The first one is property rights. My home parish of Vernon, I represent Vernon and Beauregard, I love them both, but in Vernon Parish, the citizens have lost 250,000 acres to the United States Army that needed a big Army post. And we're thankful they did, but that's a lot of land.
Yes.
Kisatchie National Forest occupies about 80,000. So we've had a lot of family land that has been taken over time. So there's a visceral concern when someone comes in and says, we're going to do X with your land. And so that's going in point one that has my citizens concerned first. And then the other part about where I live, and a geologist told me this, Brian. I'm not a geologist, for the record. I barely passed science. A geologist told me, she said, there are parts of Louisiana where they're ready to do carbon sequestration. She said, there are parts that are not. And she says, if they do it where you live, you could have an ecological disaster. Now, those are pretty strong words.
Yes, they are.
Now, I have to do something. I'm duty bound to do something with a warning like that. And that's kind of one of the reasons I have been marching the way I've marched. And because the subsurface has never been mapped. The 300,000 acres that the Army and Kisatchie have not been mapped. They don't know where the faults are. They could get there over time, but in this moment, wanting to rush to it is very unsafe and it's very dangerous. And that's one of the things where her head was like going, I didn't know that. And it was a great conversation with her.
I want to start with the Army part of this, because I don't think this is apples to apples. They when it comes to eminent domain, we've seen eminent domain being used for the government. I don't know that eminent domain is going to be used for a company. Now you can get into the
not after last week. There's not.
Yes,
not
the
after,
court ruling.
Not after the Supreme Court. There's not.
Yeah,
but it is in our code law that they can. And let me tell you what these companies have been doing in Southwest Louisiana. They went into some in Southern Vernon Parish and Allen Parish. These oil men working for these companies and scared a bunch of old people. And look, I told the Attorney General about this. They walked in and they basically said, hey, look, we need this land to run this pipeline. And we're going to need this land over here to put this well in. And if you don't sign here, we're going to take your property with eminent domain. They used that as a going in threat.
Okay, so that was the threat. Has that threat ever come to fruition?
Not over there yet.
Right. Well, it hasn't happened.
God.
No, I understand.
Yeah.
Oh no, absolutely.
Yeah.
And as every homeowner, every American ought to respect the land that they own, and that's part of the American dream.
Right.
But the threat of it happening versus it happening, there's no case we could cite where land was taken away for a pipeline.
There have been a couple in South Louisiana, but not over there.
Okay.
There have been a couple of cases. It has been fairly rare. It's been fairly rare. I think one was Shell. I think one was BP. There were a couple of decades ago. But the fact that they walk in and they try to take advantage of people who do not have the resources to fight back.
Mm-hmm.
Some of us may be able to go find a lawyer. Not everybody can. You go in and you talk to an elderly person who's living on family land they've had for forever, and it's 10 acres and it's all they have. And they say, just let us run this property, this line, or we're going to take you to court, Mrs. Smith.
Mm-hmm.
That's bad form.
Understood.
That's terribly bad form. And we need to, and in fact, I've got legislation to work through that this time. So.
Now, working through that, when you have legislation to work through that, what does your legislation look like?
This piece of legislation will prohibit a private entity from conducting the eminent domain discussions. As you know, Brian, as most people, your informed listeners know, eminent domain is as old as the country. It's in the Fifth Amendment. Mm-hmm. This can be done for a public good, but it's an inherently governmental thing.
Right.
So if Company X wants to do this, Company X will have to send either a third party, detached person who won't make money from it, or pay the government to go do it. That's the only way it would happen. Look, I don't want it to happen at all, but I think it's bad form to send these landmen that go in there and scare these elderly people. Look, as I said, I sent someone at the Attorney General's office over there to talk to him, and it happened.
We got State Representative Chuck Owen with us, talking about the what ifs worth asking about carbon capture. What are some of the others? Eminent domain, I understand, and there will be a threat, but like we said, what are some of the other ones you've got?
Well, my concerns about the whole issue of what you just said, carbon capture, is that we We talk at the high periphery. And when you say carbon capture, that means a whole bunch of different things. And that dilutes the conversation. Oh, that completely dilutes the conversation, because you can capture carbon and you can use it for enhanced oil recovery.
Yes.
You can use it in concrete. You can use it in fertilizer. You can actually capture it and bury it in pellets and sell those pellets. There's lots of things you can do. But the only thing that's been on the table where we live has been carbon burial, which is summarily being rejected by our citizens. So I would like a broader approach about how to analyze what's the best thing to do with if there is a demand. Now, I reject what Mr. Faucheux just said. He is a smart guy. He knows oil and gas. I don't know oil and gas, but I do know how to research and I do know how to read. Mm-hmm. I have never seen one trade agreement that was predicated on carbon burial. There are entities that say they would like low carbon products.
Yes.
They are not governments, and there's no trade agreements on it. Last August, when one of my colleagues was in here with you a few weeks ago, she and I and a bunch of other legislators were up at the White House.
You're talking about Representative Domain?
Yes. Okay. Yes. We were at the White House, and she and I both asked questions about this topic.
Yeah.
I asked Secretary Letnick, the Commerce Secretary. I specifically said, has there ever been a trade agreement that was predicated on carbon sequestration or carbon burial? He said no. I said, has anyone ever threatened to not buy our LNG? And he laughed at me. He said, who would say that to Donald Trump? I think this is a created demand. Now, there may be people who want it. They may be willing to sell it to us for less or more. I'm not sure how that math works, but I reject the idea that there is a hard and fast demand that will harm our economy if we don't do it.
Then why is Texas lining up to be next in line for primacy?
Look, I don't know. I know there's a fight over there. I know one of the railroad commissioners. Wayne Christian is one of the railroad commissioners. There's three of them. Mm-hmm. He is a good friend, and he is in the same spot I am. He knows that this is a scam that was rooted in carbon. This is a scam that was rooted in climate change, and it is now simply a money grab for industrialists who are trying to get tax dollars. That's all it is. It is trying to siphon in tax dollars.
I'm sorry. When you say it's a scam, what do you mean it's a scam?
Because there's no demand for this, the only way people are going to get paid for capturing and burying carbon below the earth is a federal tax credit. No one's going to pay them for it other than that.
But you're dismissing the part of it being tagged on to another deal.
Which deal?
What you said with there's been no deal on record that came with carbon capture as a. We have our Louisiana Economic Development Department. There's a lot of people in the state, and I wouldn't say anyone summarily on one side or the other. We're pretty split down the middle. But we have a lot of people in the state that are lining this up in order to attract companies here. So there are economic development people that see the value. There are companies that see the value and respond. Now, I don't know the nature of deals, so I don't know the nature of what's written into those deals, but I know what is being sold as a state and what's being bought as a customer.
What's being said by government officials and industry people is one thing. I've not heard one company. I've not heard the steel plant people say it. I've not heard Meta say it. Now, the bewildering thing, Brian, is that last year, one of my colleagues, when I was bringing my local option bill, said we may have Meta coming to Northeast Louisiana. And I'm afraid that if we give your parish over in Western Louisiana the right to say no, they may not come to Northeast Louisiana. That's crazy.
So that was we actually played that clip back last week. That was Paige Carter from LED was sitting next to you.
That's another clip, which was also that was also a disingenuous snippet, and that whole thing was taken out of context. And I would love to respond to that.
We have 3 minutes left in the segment, so go for it.
All right. 2 years ago, a big company from Europe came over and said, we want to build a pellet mill in Beauregard Parish. Mm-hmm. Everyone was for it. We were all for it. No one was against the pellet mill. I was with the Chamber of Commerce. We were all there. She said, but we have to find somewhere to send the carbon. Find somewhere to send the carbon. She is just that pellet mill was as close to the coast as it was to Vernon Parish where she wanted to send it. They were going to build this thing down in the middle of Beauregard Parish. Why not send it straight out to the Gulf? They were heck bent that they were the only place they were going to send it was going to be Vernon Parish, where the citizens don't want it. And that's where the turmoil came. No one said we don't want the pellets. That was a disingenuous misinterpretation by those groups. One of those shadowy groups that are out there that put that clip out. I put my whole hearing out. I hope you would go listen to the whole hearing, Brian, because
I have the link to it.
The whole thing, that was a disingenuous lie. It made a lot of people mad. Nobody was against those pellet people coming. Nobody.
But they were against the stipulation that they'd had someplace to put the carbon, which kind of flies.
Send it somewhere else. Don't send it. Don't send it to us. Send it. Look, the governor just gave Gray Stream a permit down in Cameron Parish. Send it down there.
Doesn't it make more sense to inject it straight into the ground than to have a pipeline go a long way?
They didn't ask that.
Okay.
I do think that. I think wherever they capture the carbon, the first option, I was going to try to run this bill this time, but I've already got a Tiger Stadium full of dumpster fires. I would love to have that as the primary thing you must do, that if you want to capture carbon, your first analysis must be in the ground here first. Why not? But they didn't ask that in Beauregard. They didn't ask Beauregard for any permits or anything.
We're going to have to get you back on.
Okay.
This is an ongoing conversation, and I love that you and I can go back and forth a little bit on it.
And look, what at the bottom of that thing, I would you tell Tommy, you tell LED, anybody you want. You and Moon can host a debate, and let's solve this for Louisiana.
You don't want that. You don't want me and Moon hosting anything. That's man, just foolish.
We could have a great civil debate.
I understand. Yeah,
and we need to.
Yeah,
because we're all on the same side. We all want oil and gas to succeed.
Yes,
we want Louisiana to succeed. I am not against oil and gas, and you dishonest people need to stop saying that I am. I am for oil and gas.
Did I? Wait,
not you. Okay,
I was going to. I've done my best to be clear.
No, you're good. These scummy people in these shadowy groups. I don't know a name in them. They're just groups out here. So bless their heart.
He is State Representative Chuck Owen. I appreciate you carving out a couple minutes. I love the tie, by the way.
Go Dog.
He's representing Louisiana Tech.
Yeah, we're playing the small school on Nicholson Drive tonight out here in baseball.
In two spots.
Yeah.
You're playing one on Nicholson, one on Skip Bertman. So baseball and softball tonight.
Yeah.
Good luck to you.
Go Dogs.
He is State Representative Chuck Owen. A conversation to be picked up later. Speaking of picking up conversations, Central Mayor's Wade Evans is next.
Thank you so much.
Awesome stuff.
God bless you. Thank you. Anytime. Thank y'all. Nice to meet you.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Central Mayor Wade Evans is up next. We've got Troy Carter after that. Right down, Bill.
Right here into Louisiana.
Carter after that. Right down.
Kill oil and gas.
Right down, Bill.
Flood your social media. Stand up fake front groups. Attack local leaders. They want to fool
from the 180.
Stop Trump. Fact. President Trump supports oil and gas and
Central Mayor Wade.
Carbon capture is the key to our energy dominance and creating good jobs right here in Louisiana. When you see attacks on carbon capture, remember millions are being spent to mislead you. These radicals don't care about you.
Right
in
now,
Louisiana, we
oh no! You know what he did? I'm just now realizing this. He said no deal has been contingent upon carbon capture, and at the end of the interview said 2 years ago we had a company come to town that said we won't do the deal unless you do something with the carbon.
You want me to post those?
Oh God, yeah, that's the featured for today.
Okay.
So's Tommy, by the way.
Okay.
Ran a little bit long with State Representative Chuck Owen. Patiently waiting for us on the hotline is Central's Mayor Wade Evans. Cooking in Central's coming up. Mayor Evans, welcome back. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great, Brian. Good morning. Yeah, we got Cooking in Central starting Thursday for our students.
Mm-hmm.
And then it kicks off Friday at 5 o'clock. I'll be kicking it off. I'm hoping we have a surprise guest show up. I'd asked her to be a taste testing judge, but she's busy, and so I told her come on Friday when I kick it off, and so we'll see. If she's an Indian giver, she won't come, but we'll find out.
That's all you're dumping in our lap is surprise guest. I mean,
now look, Friday night. Look, this year we went big, man. We've got some great entertainment. Friday night we got Chase Tyler opening up. We've got Wayne Toops doing his thing Friday night. We've got plenty of food. We've got Central Private School be cooking hamburgers and hot dogs. We have boiled crawfish on Friday night starting at 5 o'clock. Then on Saturday, there's a Southern Muscle Car Show starting at 11, goes to 4:30. We'll have performances by the kids out in our community between 12 and 4. And then at 5 o'clock, the Mojos kick it off. 7 o'clock, Lauren Lee will come on, and then we close out tonight with the Bag of Donuts. So should be a great time.
All right, now you're speaking my language with the Bag of Donuts, the probably the premier party band of New Orleans for the last, I don't know, 30 years maybe.
We're hoping to, 30 years. We must have the old Bag of Donuts, but we're gonna go with it. We're gonna have a good time.
No, they're awesome. And by the way, Friday night you're not gonna get better than pairing up Chase Tyler with Wayne Toops. That's pretty awesome on that front as well. All right, so let's start.
You may catch me on the tambourine.
Do what?
You may catch me up there with a tambourine.
Okay. That might go viral. We don't know. We've got Central's Mayor Wade Evans on with us. So let's talk about what Cooking in Central is all about. What is it for?
Cooking in Central started 18 years ago as a way to raise money for our schools. And now that our schools are doing well, we kept it going because it became a community festival for our city. And so we raise money through Cooking in Central for our nonprofit space out here. We help buy uniforms for kids. We fund special needs activities for the spectacular kids. We have the Central Athletic Foundation, which helps not only improve our sports facilities, but also families who need assistance so that kids can play high school sports. We have Cast Iron Assistance, which is a group that we help fund. They go and cook at different events throughout the I would say the nation, because they've traveled all over the place to do it. And so it's a way to raise money for a good cause, but also a way to bring our community together and showcase our community to outsiders and just have a good time. Should be a great weekend.
Central's Mayor Wade Evans is on with us. Talk to me about the cook-off a little bit. What are we cooking off here? What is the the main?
This year is just a mini pot jambalaya. In other words, we didn't want to limit people who could only make a 20 or 30 gallon pot. We wanted people who could cook just a 8-quart jambalaya, and so anybody who can cook, we want them to show up and give it a go. No, we'll have Cast Iron Assistance cooking our jambalaya that we sell, because I don't want to sell jambalaya to people that is untested. But we will have the cook-off. We got State Senator Rick Edmonds will be a judge. We got Hiller Moore will be a judge. Sheriff Sid Gotro, Mayor President Sid Edwards, and also Chef Guy from our high school culinary program. So you have those 5 people judging. I'm not going to be a judge this year because I don't want to chip my tooth on crunchy rice from a jambalaya that I hadn't tasted.
I mean, not showing a whole lot of faith in the participants here.
Hey, I'll call them out. Show up and do your thing, and let's talk about it. You get a great paddle and bragging rights. If you can beat Josh Austin, you get bragging rights for at least 1 year.
Okay. All right. Then the gauntlet has been laid down. Cooking in Central coming up this weekend. Mayor Evans, where can folks go if they want to learn more about the festival, about what's going to be going on?
You can go to Cooking in Central on Facebook. We have everything there, as well as we have a website. It's cookingincentral.com, and they can see everything there. You can also go to the city's Facebook page, City of Central. You can see everything about cooking there. It's going to be on Blackwater Road at Amazing Place, which is it's going to be a great opportunity for people to come together. It's 10305 Blackwater Road in the great city of Central. And so we look forward to everybody coming out and joining us. Thank you for your time this morning, Brian.
Oh, always. He is Central's Mayor Wade Evans. Always appreciate the time. You know the door is always open over here. We will talk to you soon, sir.
Thank you, sir. Y'all have a great day.
You do the same. Appreciate Central's Mayor Wade Evans coming on, talking about cooking in Central. Let me find that website. Oh, it's cookingincentral.com. He said it right there. Cookingincentral.com. If you want to learn a little bit more, find out more about it. We're not done by any stretch of the imagination. We've got Congressman Troy Carter slated to join us in our next segment. Will there be an end to the partial government shutdown? ICE agents are in the airports. As I understand, there were no incidents yesterday at New Orleans as they're there to help out, with 47% of TSA agents calling in sick. Can't blame them for that because they haven't been paid in over a month. We'll talk with Congressman Carter about that. Also, he has got a bipartisan cannabis bill. Gotta love some bipartisan cannabis. We'll talk with him about that as well. A little DC Current presented by LABI. And thanks again to State Representative Chuck Owen talking about carbon capture and where he's at. It's that's going to be available on demand at talk1073.com after the show is over with this morning. Really great conversation, but more to the point, just the beginning of the conversation. As he went through a number of different things, he talked about eminent domain, and he, did say that, while nobody's property has been taken in his neck of the woods, nobody's property has been taken for carbon capture. The threat that it might be is what scares people. And I hope I'm not misquoting him on that. I'm paraphrasing what he had to say, but I think there are important things to note along the way. And one of those is like, no, it hasn't happened. And he's pushing a bill to hopefully keep that shut down in the future. Also, he did say that there are no economic development deals that are contingent upon carbon capture. And I need to reach out to him for clarification on this, because he said there were no economic development deals that are contingent upon carbon capture. But then he also said that there was a deal rolling through where they wanted to make it, a company wanted to make an investment, but, quote, you had to do something with the carbon. So we'll pick that conversation up with State Rep Chuck Owen at a later time. In the meanwhile, want to remind you about 5-Star Printing and Signs. Printshop5.com is the website. 271-4096 is the phone number to get a hold of Danny and his team. Look, we've had, 3 elections already this year in Louisiana. Come May, we're going to have closed primaries for the Senate and Congress. If you're running in any of those races, you've probably already mapped out everything you're purchasing. But look ahead to November. There's going to be a stack of other races on the ballot, a stack of ballot initiatives as well. If you are involved with one of those ballot initiatives, or you're thinking about running for a race this November, you need to give Danny a call. This is what he does better than anybody else out there. Call him at 225-271-4096. Make sure your campaign is buttoned up when it comes to the messaging. Make sure your yard signs are tight and accurate. Make sure those big old signs you see out there are tight and accurate. Make sure your door hangers, your brochures, your mailers, every piece of campaign paraphernalia you need, Danny has got you covered. He'll sit down with you, walk through collaborating on the messaging, walk through on the budgeting. Make sure you're maximizing every dollar. Printshop5.com or 225-271-4096 for 5-Star Printing and Signs. We've got ABC News coming your way right now. Right after ABC News, we will check our local news. We'll do traffic. We'll hit some weather. On the back end of all that, Congressman Troy Carter slated to join us next. DC Current, presented by the Louisiana Association of Business and Industry, right here on Talk 107.3. Yo, man.
Oh. Good morning. Okay. I emailed you the picture of Chuck Owen, and I already wrote the script for you, and that shows up in like 5 minutes. Just post his picture.
Okay, so everything is good with that.
Yeah, everything's good to go. You just have to add his picture and then publish. It's a draft for you. And then you'll have to post Wade Evans, because I'm waiting to get to him. He's just out. And Troy Carter. And that's it. Everything else is done for you. Thank you, Kate.
What do you make the descriptions of?
ChatGPT. So I go to TurboScribe. I'm out of uses today because they only give you like 3 days. And so when I run out in Google, I go to Edge. I know how to hack the system. And You still have 2 left. So what I'll do is I'll transcribe. Yep. Take that, copy paste it to ChatGPT, tell it 300-word article, SEO friendly headline, that whole 9 yards. And then you might have to like proofread it because ChatGPT is not always right. And that's how I do it. Thank you. Let me run and get a good seat. Apparently the whole school is performing at the same time, so if you don't be there, you say, yep, that's me. That's yours. Okay, thank you.
And then $25 a year after that participating in the program. And if you have an electric vehicle charger, you get a $7 a month credit for that as well. The EV charging credit is for charging your vehicle during off-peak hours. These programs are for Entergy Louisiana customers, as Entergy Lawrence customers have separate programs. Proposed upgrade plans for the Smoothie King Center aimed at bringing the arena up to modern NBA standards are released this weekend. The major renovation called for 2,100 additional level seats, upgraded condos, cafes. They have plans to put a band in there for pregame and postgame concerts. That's Jeff Duncan, a columnist for NOLA.com, who says the renovation is more than an updated NBA arena. Well, it's not just an arena renovation, but a completely reimagining that entire footprint down there around the Superdome. I'm Andre Chauvin. A hit-and-run crash claimed the life of former Rapids Parish Sheriff William Earl Hilton yesterday. The crash occurred just before 1 p.m. and the suspect driver allegedly ran over Hilton, who was transported to a helicopter for his injuries. Authorities say they had used spike strips to finally stop the suspect, who was driving a blue Nissan Murano at speeds exceeding 100 miles per hour. Talk with us of improvement.
Now a check on your drive from the Talk 107.3 Traffic Center.
We have a major accident that's backing up traffic inbound Baton Rouge on Florida Boulevard. This is westbound Florida, just as you come off of the Union River Bridge. Crash there.
Man.
Well onto the ditto side. Again, this is 190 Florida Boulevard. This is not I-12. Because I-12 backups beginning near Cuban and running tight on our Florida. I'm ready to know.
This report is sponsored by Credit Karma. Want to make the most of your tax refund? File with TurboTax on Intimate Credit Karma. They help you get your biggest refund, and then we help you do more with it. With a personalized plan designed to help you hit your money goals. Start filing today in the Credit Karma app. This report comes to you
Studio.
from 107.3 Traffic Center.
How are you, Congressman Brian? My producers getting some other stuff done real quick, so I didn't want to leave you hanging. But I am going to drop you on hold, so hang tight. Coming your way in 2 minutes. Thanks.
Fear, isolation, these are the battles that so many people face every day. But it doesn't have to be this way. Now, Gail doesn't suffer like she used to, thanks to TMS therapy at NeuroJust, a minimally invasive treatment proven to improve depression without the side effects of medication.
Now I can go shopping, come back home, cook, put clothes in the laundry.
Start your healing journey today with your free consultation at NeuroJust. Call 225-755-9733. 225-755-9733. That's 225-755-9733.
At Office Products, we do more than provide office equipment. We optimize efficiency for businesses across all industries. As a nationally recognized radio dealer, we get decades of expertise in education, engineering, legal, finance, and beyond. From desktop solutions to high production systems, we'll find the perfect fit to keep your business moving forward.
Journey Health Solutions is guiding healthcare forward, partnering with healthcare organizations nationwide to elevate patient experience and drive growth, from urgent care and emergency rooms to specialty. Visit JourneyHealth.com today to get started.
Gold and silver to find wealth and power. Join Reagan Gold this Saturday at noon for valuable tips from seasoned professionals to maximize your investment returns and give you expert tips.
That's all I tune in for. Just the tips.
Gold.
Of gold.
Yeah.
I love gold.
Oh, I found a clip. It just populated into my feed yesterday on Instagram of Toast of the Town.
The fuck was Toast of the
Matt Berry. And he's recording clips for like the British Navy. You've now prepared.
Oh, my good. Yes.
The nuclear weapon.
Eight 8:37, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Been a busy show thus far, and we are showing no signs of slowing down. Right now, as we do the overwhelming majority of Tuesdays, we check in with Congressman Troy Carter, a little DC Current, presented by LABI. Congressman Carter, how are you, sir?
I am doing fine, sir. How are you on this beautiful
Do we
morning?
not have him? All right, there we go. Congressman Carter, how are you?
I'm doing fine, sir. How are you on this beautiful morning?
Doing very well as well. We got business to attend to, but I don't want to bury the lead, but I feel like I kind of need to because I want to talk to you about this cannabis bill that you put out there. I'm reading into the press release a little bit, and I got to tell you, I'm intrigued because it makes sense on a couple of levels, although I do have some questions. So let's dive right in. Tell me all about it.
So what the Crime Act does, as its acronym spells out, Capital Lending and Investment for Marijuana Business Act. So as you know, Louisiana included has medicinal forms of cannabis that are legal. Nearly 40 states in a union have some form of legalization of marijuana, yet there's a conflict between state, local, and federal governments that while it is legal, it's not recognized in banking industries. So people who are in the industry can't borrow money to expand or to acquire, nor can they use the resources of SBA for technical assistance. What this bill would do is it would treat it like any other legitimate business as it is, so they would be able to access capital to either get into the marketplace, expand in the marketplace, or enhance the quality of their products and their offerings through the leadership and talents and resources of SBA and other federal agencies.
Okay, so my first question is expansion something we're seeking here?
Well, it doesn't matter. If you own a snowball stand and you want to build a covering for the snowball stand, that's an enhancement. That would be an expansion. It doesn't mean that you are proliferating. It means that you're helping those that are currently in business. As a business owner, you know that you have to do maintenance, you have to expand, you have to repair. And when you need to do that, most people don't use their capital, they go to the bank. Right. However, this legitimate business is not afforded that opportunity to do so.
We're at Congressman Troy Carter on. This is DC Current, presented by the Louisiana Association of Business and Industry. Okay, so sticking on that same line, though, is you have different restrictions in different states. The market for this bill would be what? Like, who is it that would be seeking? Because I'm having trouble getting past. Are we looking for new businesses to get into the business, or is this just setting the table?
It's primarily for those existing businesses anywhere that have a need. For example, they can't bank. So you can make money, but you can't put it in the bank. So
Right.
you have to, it makes it very difficult. If you call it a legitimate business, then you have to treat it like a legitimate business and give it all of the financial tools that any other legitimate business has. In a nutshell, that's what the Climb Act does. The Climb Act recognizes and has the federal government to recognize these cannabis businesses that are in fact recognized as legal in states, yet are limited in resources they can get.
So the reason behind my question is because here in Louisiana, we do have, we're legal on a medicinal basis here, but we've moved at a snail's pace. And I personally feel like we're doing it right by moving so slowly. This would, by what you're telling me, is this wouldn't make it explode. It would just give more access to those who have already followed the protocols.
That is correct. Correct. What this does is, again, to use the analogy of a snowball stand. If you have a snowball stand, this gives you the ability to go and borrow money to buy new machines.
Right.
Gives you the ability to, you just had a blowout and something's broken. You can go to the bank. You can seek the resources of SBA to help you figure out how to get through this challenge. Up until now, with the absence of the passage of this bipartisan bill, it's bipartisan, by the way, the absence of it, that business owner, who is in fact a business owner, doesn't have the same resources as other business owners. We're just trying to level the playing field.
No, 100%. And that's the part that I think is the common sense end of this one, Congressman, is either it's legal to sell it or it's not. And if it's legal to sell it, you should play by the same rules as everybody else on the planet.
You said it better than I could have. That's perfect.
It makes sense from a free market perspective, to be sure. What kind of appetite does the Congress have for this?
Well, it gets, listen, it's getting more and more. I'm just reintroducing it again. We've introduced it before. And we're gaining steam. We're getting more and more bipartisan support, Republicans and Democrats recognizing that this is, in fact, a legitimate industry that should not be hamstrung and treated differently from any other business. So I'm optimistic that we're gaining steam and that ultimately we're going to get this over the goalposts.
Congressman Troy Carter is with us. Okay, so who did you team up with on this one?
My Republican partner on this is Guy Reschenthaler. He's a Republican from Pennsylvania, who has a similar situation in his locale, like many of us do, and that recognizing that these businesses should be treated the same as any other business. So Guy's a really good guy. We don't agree on everything, but we agree on this. And like every time you hear me, whenever we talk on the radio, it's okay to disagree.
Of course.
As long as you do so in a way that you try to find common ground. This is yet another demonstration that just because we're in different parties doesn't mean we can't find common ground to work on issues that plague our communities.
Last one on this one before we move on, and that is, when you talk about 40 different states have some level of legalized marijuana usage, they all have different standards, different regulations. Does the statewide differences, do those play at all into the writing of this legislation, the writing of this bill, and how it would play back out if it comes to fruition?
No, it doesn't, because all it talks about is resources. Okay. So it doesn't get into, nor does it need to get into the nuances of state law.
Right.
It basically says that if you are a legitimate business, you should have the same resources of any other legitimate business.
Right. So, okay, so you're not superseding anything that's already done at a statewide level anywhere in the country.
That's right. I'm not overriding anything. I'm basically giving you a pass to go to meet with SBA, to go to do the things that other businesses are able to do that heretofore cannabis businesses are not.
Now we turn to, by the way, this is DC Current presented by LABI. Congressman Troy Carter is our guest. And now we turn to a topic that might drive a few people to look for some cannabis, and that's the partial government. Sorry. Partial government shutdown. Are we anywhere closer, sir?
I don't know. I mean, I heard some encouraging words last night from Senator Kennedy, who said that he thinks we should pass TSA's budget singularly. As you know, there have been multiple votes in the Senate where opportunities were present to pay to fund TSA singularly, to segregate out TSA from ICE, and they have failed each time. I'm hopeful that we'll get closer to being able to pass that. Listen, the reforms that are required of ICE are real. They're not earth-shattering. They're not in any way unrealistic or unreasonable. Here they are. You must wear a name tag identifying yourself as law enforcement. You shall not wear a mask. You must wear a body cam, and you cannot summarily kick in someone's door without a judicial warrant. Does any of that sound unreasonable?
I'm gonna walk down the path just to walk down the path.
I'm gonna press you. Does that sound unreasonable?
On 3 and 4, 100% on board with. There's a level of safety and danger when it comes to this because it's such a volatile topic that people's families are worried. And like to be doxxed in this day and age, to be sought down, to be hunted, that is a legitimate worry, is it not?
Well, no, it isn't. Let me tell you why. FBI agents every day, they go out and they chase down the roughest rough, the dirtiest, the meanest gangsters all over the world. They don't wear masks. Our DEA agents, our police officers, every single day in some of the roughest communities in our country, they go into dangerous areas. They don't wear masks. They have their name badges on. They get a judicial warrant. They wear body cams. This notion has been a manufactured facade to suggest that they wear masks because they've been hunted. Let me poke a hole in that. Most of this, ICE didn't start doing this stuff until just several months ago.
Mm-hmm.
So they never had the hate and vitriol until they started expressing hate and vitriol. So this notion that you have to not wear a name tag and wear a mask, let me just say, Brian, if someone appeared in your yard and they ran up to your house and they grabbed your loved one and they had a mask on and they had no name tag and you didn't know who they were, you might shoot them. You
Likely.
might hit them with a baseball bat.
No, likely. That's not that. I would move that to a maybe to a probably.
Your loved one.
No, I'm with you. I'm
so
with you.
That's all we want. Just identify yourself as law enforcement.
But that goes away when you need the warrant, which I think everybody would be 100% on board with.
If someone busts into my door even with a warrant and doesn't identify themselves, I'm going to shoot them.
Well,
if you bust in my door in the middle of the night and you haven't identified with a warrant or not, you haven't identified yourself as law enforcement, man, I'm thinking you're coming in to harm me or my loved ones, and I'm going to shoot you.
Well, that takes it a step further. Look, I know full well I despise the no-knock warrant, but warrant nonetheless. I think everybody would be on board.
No,
with.
No. I don't. That's not distinguished between no-knock warrant, and.
Well, you just said busted in, so I filled in the blank.
But that's busting in even with a warrant.
Yeah.
You know, you can knock and then bust in. You got to identify yourself as you're doing it. FBI, ICE, DEA. You just can't knock my door down and say nothing and expect me not to think you're a villain.
He is Congressman Troy Carter. We're going to pick it up next time, hopefully with a fully open government. We always appreciate the time, sir. Thank you so much.
God bless you, my friend. Have a fantastic week.
You do the same. Here's your money now. Oh. Frustrating. No. I don't know. You anger issues. You just threw a mouse. You've been sitting there for 3 minutes. Like you just threw a mouse. Do what? Does it? I used it yesterday. I haven't used it today.
Jim Norton eyeballs and nuts.
I'm Chuck McDowell. You know, long and short of that interview with Congressman Carter, I really want to snowball. We went to Sal's last weekend. It's not on Metairie Road, by the way. It's on Amy Coney Barrett Parkway. No, they didn't change Metairie Road, but you know where Sal's is at on Metairie Road, right there by Bonnable. Yeah, so there's this driveway that goes in front of Sal's and it goes in front of Majoria Drugs, and then it meets back out. It's like half a city block long. It's now Amy Coney Barrett Parkway. I don't even think they needed like an ordinance to do that. I think they just put up a sign. What does it take to get this done? Buy a sign. Okay. It's now Amy Coney Barrett Parkway. And they didn't even name a snowball after her. The Wall Street Journal has a story. It says boy athletes are repeating 8th grade in a holdback year to grow ahead of recruitment for college NIL packages, potentially worth millions. Leah Van tweets, did the Wall Street Journal just discover Texas high school football? I want to respond with, John Curtis is on line 1.
Well, it doesn't matter if you own a snowball stand and you want to build a covering for the snowball stand. That's an enhancement. That would be an expansion.
Congressman Troy Carter for DC Current, presented by LABI, really has me wanting a snowball right about now. 8:55. Talk what is a great segment though. I love when we go back and forth like that. There's been a lot of that today. It'll all be available on demand at talk1073.com when the show is over with. We had Chuck Owen in here at 8:05. State Representative Chuck Owen talking carbon capture. Speaking of carbon capture, Tommy Faucheux from the Louisiana Mid-Continent Oil and Gas Association. Hopefully that's not one of the shadowy organizations that Chuck Owen was talking about. He was up at Sarah Week in Houston, the Super Bowl of energy, as it were. Man, been all over LinkedIn the last 2 days. Look at the folks that are in Houston. I cannot wait to get a debrief, a postmortem on it once it's over with. Because a lot of what's going on in Houston right now is what's being talked about in our state legislature. And that conversation will continue, to be sure. Before we get out of here, I want to remind you about the folks over at Industry Makes. IndustryMakes.org is the website. The return serve, as it were, is what Industry Makes is. When it comes to industry in Louisiana, we talked about this with Donnie Miller in our first hour. You know, it's not just about the big plants that are up and down the river. It's about all the mom and pops that work with the plants, that have contracted along with them, that do all the work. That's the backbone of Louisiana's economy, y'all. And yet every time anything is wanted on that front, you're going to see the usual suspects line up to fight against it. You're going to see numerous opponents to growth every time there is the potential for growth. Well, how do you fight back with real information and not misinformation? Visit industrymakes.org. They've got the ambassador's toolkit right over there. Become an ambassador. Speak up for the business that doesn't just employ the folks that live up and down our streets, but the products we use every day, from the shoes on our feet to the tires on our car. IndustryMakes.org is the website. Wanted to get into one more story before we got out of here today, and that is, let me go back to WBRZ to talk about it real quick. Sorry, I had moved over to another page. You know what? Forget it. I'm going to do it off memory. LSU's golf course is going to be shutting down very soon. May 9th is when they're going to begin the tear down. June 30th, it'll be gone for good. And this is to make way for the new LSU arena, which is awesome, which is fantastic. This is a move that the Nicholson corridor definitely needs, that Baton Rouge definitely needs. It's going to upgrade not just campus, but our city on so many levels. And hopefully will be the spark that makes the whole Nicholson corridor come together. We'll see how that plays out as it gets here. I know every time we have Chris Meyer on from the Baton Rouge Area Foundation, we have the chance to, dream a little bit, dream big. And sparking that corridor is going to be so huge for Baton Rouge in terms of just perennial, just wasted opportunities, year after year after year. Wasted opportunities. If you drive up and down Nicholson, on the riverside of Nicholson, all that flattened out property, all that's just grass now, or the occasional tree, a lot of overgrown weeds and milk thistle. Putting up businesses on there, making an entertainment district around the arena, which I don't know that the entertainment district would trend towards Tigerland or trend towards downtown. Either way, building up an entire entertainment district could change the face of how we view entertainment in Baton Rouge. And then the other repercussions that would come of that, I've been seeing stories circulating about what's the future of Tigerland as a whole. Maybe this is a little bit over the top, but raise it. Not RAISE either. Raise it. Get the businesses in Tigerland like Fred's and the rest of them into the new entertainment district and just level that place, because it is nowhere near what it was built as. We'll talk about that a lot more in the coming weeks. We'll also continue our legislative conversations tomorrow. We got to get out of here. Moon's next. All right, Facebook, I got to bounce. I got like 3 meetings all stacked on top of each other. We'll see y'all tomorrow.